And what's going on, everybody? It's episode 26 of the Game Room Podcast. I'm your host, Rome, alongside, literally, my co-host, Dev.
Hey, what's up?
Dev, how you doing?
Doing all right.
Playing a lot of Zelda?
A lot of Zelda.
A
Yeah.
lot of Zelda. We also have producer Jeff on the ones and twos. Jeff, how you doing tonight? Awesome. Well, we have a packed show coming up. We got some news on PlayStation, Xbox, Nintendo. We have actually a whole bunch, really well-rounded show coming up. So I'm excited to dive right in. Let's start off with the headlines. Number one on the headlines, Starfield has been rated by the ESRB. Now, this is not like a super big deal. I mean, I don't think anyone's really surprised about this, but it got an M rating. The reason that I decided to share this, Dev, is for some of the things in the description of the game.
I've seen a few.
You've seen a few.
Yeah.
So the game's been rated M for mature, for blood, strong language, suggestive themes, use of drugs, and violence.
Are there jetpacks in the game?
Well, there are jetpacks. How did you know? So, you know, the ESRB listing kind of goes through, you know, typical stuff that you would expect. Player uses futuristic guns, lasers, axes, and explosives to kill enemies. Combat's fast-paced, with frequent gunfire, cries of pain, and explosions. You know, going through some of the stuff, there are some suggestive quotes in the game that pretty much confirm that you can have sex in this game.
Okay.
So let's read through some of these, Dev. Life is a sexually transmitted disease that's 100% fatal.
Yeah, I mean, he's not wrong.
I'm all for getting wild, but next time, let's try it without the jetpacks. That's my favorite one. I like that one. And talk about seeing stars. Woo, that was amazing. Yeah, this is fun.
Yeah.
This is gonna be a fun game. I think Starfield's gonna hit. I mean, obviously, Redfall, it happened.
Yeah.
You know, it's in the rearview mirror. It's actually, now that I think about it, it's kind of a blessing in disguise that Zelda did come out a week later.
People forgot about.
Because nobody's talking about it at this point.
Yeah.
Like, it's just not a thing at this point.
Yeah, definitely got buried.
Yeah, which is, we were worried that the game was going to be good and get buried.
Yeah.
But
if you're gonna get buried, be bad, I guess.
Yeah, right. If you're gonna get sandwiched between Zelda and Star Wars,
Yeah.
be a bad game. But Starfield coming out this September. Sony, here's some PlayStation news. Let's get the bad news out of the way first. We have some good news later on, but bad news first. Number 2 in the headlines, by the way. So Sony, they had a pretty busy 2 weeks, closing down some stuff, taking things away. Kind of sucks, but let's get into it. So Sony is shutting down a Pixel Opus, one of their studios, best known for Concrete Genie. Pixel Opus tweeted, Dear friends, our Pixel Opus adventure has come to an end. As we look to new futures, we wanted to say a heartfelt thank you to the millions of passionate players who have supported us and our mission to make beautiful, imaginative games with heart. We are so grateful. So I believe that this was from IGN, by the way. I think IGN reached out to PlayStation for comment to see if they were laid off or if they were moved around, and I don't believe that they actually got a confirmation, even as of this show. No, it doesn't seem like it. Which it sucks to see, because you don't want to see. We were talking about this last week with Redfall failing. You don't want to see these unique IPs and stuff fail, because then companies are less willing to do it.
Yeah, we don't know if it's a failure. It could be something else. They could be moving on. I mean, I feel like the last thing they did was Concrete Genie, and that was early PS4. I feel like.
I thought it was late PS4.
I don't know. It's been a while since I've heard from them. So,
yeah. But the studio is closing its doors on June 2nd. Let's see. So PlayStation, they are closing down their PS Plus collection library. I think this was actually a really big hit for them.
Yeah, it is.
So this actually already ended. It ended last week. The games that were on this list. So basically, for those that don't know, the PlayStation Plus collection was a collection of games that came out, I believe, when the PS5 launched, or it might have been even before then, where if you were a PS Plus member, you had access to these games. And the 19 games that were a part of this collection are Batman Arkham Knight, Battlefield 1, Bloodborne, Call of Duty Black Ops 3, The Zombie Chronicles Edition, Crash Bandicoot Insane Trilogy, Days Gone, Detroit Become Human, God of War, Fallout 4, Final Fantasy 15, Infamous Second Son, Last Guardian, The Last of Us Remastered, Monster Hunter World, Mortal Kombat X, well 10, Ratchet and Clank, Resident Evil 7, Uncharted 4, and Until Dawn. So I think
I don't know if it. So if they can move some of those games to their subscription service, I feel like it's okay. Having just 19 games in a separate, like, you know what I mean, like a separate menu just to play. Like, I don't know. It does feel weird. It does feel weird to have. It does feel a little unnecessary when you once you started the subscription service. A lot of those games are their first party games that they can just move
yeah.
to their subscription service. You know?
So I agree with you, but the problem that I have with it is that if that was the play, if that was the plan, why would they not rephrase it to be that? Like
Yeah, yeah.
this because I think this is a bad look for them. I mean, again, we talk about it a lot. I think PlayStation does not. They do a very large amount of unfriendly consumer moves. And this is just another one. Like these are some great games that.
That's what I'm saying. A lot of them are first party. They can just move them to their subscription service. I don't. It doesn't seem.
But the question is, will they?
I don't see why not.
I don't see
Especially
why
for
they
older
shouldn't either.
ones.
But
Yeah, they might. Especially for the older ones, like you mentioned, Days Gone. Like that should be on your subscription service.
yeah, I
Like,
guess we'll have to wait and see. I mean,
if
but
they don't, that'll be more of a hit. But
so at the time, Jim Ryan, CEO of Sony Entertainment, said he hadn't decided if the PlayStation Plus collection would be expanded beyond its initial launch lineup. And so we're gonna wait and see how the world receives the collection. So that's what it is.
yeah,
I just have to say I don't think they're gonna add the games. I think they like having that first party sales. But that's just me. Lastly, on the kind of the Sony downer news, Sony also, according to Insider Gaming, have canceled an unannounced sci-fi shooter. It's been claimed that Sony has canceled this shooter at Final Strike Games that was in development for 3 years, which is a chunky time,
Yeah,
man,
that is a lot of
to
time.
cancel this game. The claims come from Twitter user Bogard222, who provided Insider Gaming with evidence of the claims from an ex-developer at the studio. The Day Trading Doge, new microphone, sounds great, can hear much better.
Awesome.
Thanks, man, really appreciate that. The claims come from Twitter user Bogard222. Gave evidence of the ex-developer at the studio under the condition that the source remains anonymous. It was said that the game was 2 years away from its release, with the intention being to release the game on the PS5 and PC. According to the screenshots provided, Final Strike Games had a 40% reduction in headcount because of the canceled project. Final Strike Games was founded in 2016 and released Rocket Arena, which was published by EA. In June 21, the developers began live service support at Epic Games on the likes of Fortnite. According to the company's website, the developers are working on an unannounced new IP AAA PvP shooter for PC and console. But it's unclear if this canceled project or not that has been discussed. So yeah, again,
I think this is probably the worst news out of all of it. This one sucks.
Yeah, I also
2 years away. It seems like they had a lot of work into it. 3 years in development.
Mhm. I also think it's really kind of weird that it coincides with Redfall's failure. Do you think there's any
Oh yeah,
chance?
maybe.
Do you think there's any chance that Sony was like, okay, well, we're really expecting this game to kind of come out and maybe compete against the Redfall? Maybe it's a very similar kind of game. Do you think that they were looking at it like, okay, we could pull the plug on this? This game wasn't really where we wanted it to be. And
If it was heading in that direction, I could see that. I mean, they said it was 2 years away, so who knows what it would have been.
yeah,
But yeah,
yep. Well, there's a PlayStation showcase on Thursday, so they clearly have something else to show, which is, I think it'll be a good show. But we'll talk about that in a little bit. Number 3 on the headlines: Call of Duty news. Got some Call of Duty stuff coming in. Insider Gaming says that the Call of Duty 2023 reveal will be in the beginning of August. Although details are still slim on what the reveal entails, it's understood that the game will be revealed just like some of its recent predecessors by some form of in-game event. Black Ops Cold War and Vanguard were revealed in the original Warzone, whereas MW2 was revealed during a special COD Next event. The current date penciled in for the reveal is August 1st, which falls on a Tuesday. This implies that we're unlikely to see Call of Duty 2023 news at this year's PlayStation Showcase, which is happening this week. It's still unclear. Actually, that's not true. So this is actually a little outdated. So it did come out since then that this game will be called Modern Warfare 3.
okay.
The second Modern Warfare 3. So Call of Duty for me is like in a really kind of rough patch, and we're gonna bring producer Jeff in for this. So Jeff, the lifespan of Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 has been fascinating in a sense that I think that I'm just going to speak for myself. I think that for me, I started off very high on this game and very high on the future of Call of Duty, and I'm at a point where I don't think I've been lower. I don't think I've ever been more down on Call of Duty than I am right now. Um, so how do you feel? Where are you at right now with the state of Call of Duty?
You should say that and the actual phrasing you said, the downest you've ever been, because the words I'm about to say, I'm not sure I ever thought that I would say them.
There we
Call of
go.
Duty's dead.
Oh, it's dead. Oh, okay,
I,
good. Yeah.
I mean, it is. If you see the player count, I wish I would have had it ready, like a player count here. It is absolutely horrendous, the player count right now. Um, and the reason that I say that is because I'm looking at the company that now owns Call of Duty as a whole, Activision Blizzard, right?
Yeah.
And we know what they expect out of their games. You know, it's not hard to see if you look all the way across Blizzard, they're doing nothing but microtransactions everywhere. They just canceled Overwatch 2, the whole thing that made it Overwatch 2. So now we're just back to Overwatch 1.
Yeah.
And it's all because, they
Uh,
said because it's not going to make them any money like microtransactions would. So I see where the future of that company wants to head. And in the world of Call of Duty, that will not make a good Call of Duty game again. You know what I mean? So that's why I say it's dead. Unless something drastically changes in that company where they're like, you know what, we're wrong.
Yeah, like acquired by another company.
maybe some sort of acquisition was currently in the works.
Yeah.
Maybe someone can turn the company around. Oh boy. I wonder if that something like that could happen. Um yeah, I mean it's just it sucks to talk about, but yeah, Call of Duty is for me is just like it was such a decline because I really appreciated Modern Warfare 2 for not being afraid to do something different, and what happened was it just okay, well the numbers weren't good. So they came out and the content wasn't really there. They needed a little bit more content to keep players engaged. So you want to be a live service game, and that's fine. I can understand that, but you need to support your game with content. So
Yeah.
they had a barren game that they wanted to be a live service, and then nothing came out for it. Like I was somebody who was like legitimately, even when Warzone 2 started to go downhill, I was still playing the multiplayer because I think it's a good multiplayer. I really do think that based off the game, the gunplay that they have in the game, it's a solid multiplayer. But there was just no new content, and I believe they're currently on season 3, and they've only had 1 or 2 new multiplayer
But
maps.
this is like a reoccurring theme with a lot of shooters that are coming out, like from Halo all the way to Call of Duty. They're just putting out these games and they're not putting in content.
Mhm.
If you look at Destiny, I think Destiny just had a new drop or a trailer for a new drop or something's coming out real soon for it, but it's dropping content, so people are still playing it. That's all we want is if you're not going to give us sequels, give us something that, something.
Yeah, I mean, sorry. Well, so I mean, I'll push back on that. I thought Modern Warfare 2's campaign was good. I don't think it's as good as the older campaigns, but I thought it was a solid, good campaign. My problem is more so with the multiplayer and the Warzone side of things for them. Exactly. Yeah, just kind of going through the emotions uh, and then like so the multiplayer didn't have content, which is depressing and disappointing. And then Warzone 2 struggled, and they were just like, "All right, well, we tried these new things and people are getting a little upset, so we're going right back to Warzone 1." And for me that was just like, well, that's my jumping out point. That's the point where it's like, "Good day. I'll see you later." Um as of right now, I don't know exactly where like what the likelihood of me getting Call of Duty this year is. I would say it's pretty low. I mean, I always really enjoy the campaign, so who knows what'll happen. But I mean, I've never skipped out on a Call of Duty. But if there's a year that I'm going to do it, it's going to be this year. It would be this year, and it's a bad timing for them because obviously there's that core Call of Duty fan base where this is all that they buy, and no matter how good or bad it is, they're going to buy it. But I know there are people out there like me who they play everything and they do enjoy Call of Duty. And this is a bad year to lose that crowd because there is a lot of things that people are going to want to play already this year, let alone still to come.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's from Ubisoft. I believe. I believe it's from Ubisoft. Um, yeah, they tweaked that a little bit because originally people were upset with it because it came out and it was Tom Clancy's X Defiant,
I
and
remember
people were
that.
like, "This looks nothing like
Yeah, you
anything
can't
that should
just throw
be."
Tom.
You can't just throw Tom Clancy's name on it. Like this doesn't
Yeah.
look like a Tom Clancy property.
Yeah, I heard about
Like
that.
Tom Clancy is all about like modern day warfare espionage, and like X Defiant did not look like that. Um, but yeah, I mean that's where we're at with Call of Duty. Obviously, we'll be covering Call of Duty when it gets announced in August. So stay tuned. Number 4 on the headlines: the Xbox May update is rolling out. What is in this update, Devroro? You may ask.
What's in this update?
I'm glad you asked, Devroro. Well, so for starters, you can now view Xbox gamer tags of your Discord friends, making it easier to find them and add them via Xbox. There will also be a new sort and filter option in the Microsoft Store on Xbox.com to help you find things that you're looking for. Your controller will be getting a firmware update. I do not know. It's a bug fix for controllers that disconnecting games when using headphones with 4K, 120 hertz, and VRR enabled. There you go. That's good. Xbox Game Pass quests are going to be easier to find on the rewards tab. I think this is pretty cool, but I don't think people realize that there are these like cool quests for Game Pass that you can do, and you get rewards points for it. You can save up your points and get some Microsoft currency even. Yeah, and that is the Xbox May update. I mean, obviously, I think the headliner, as it went first, is the Discord integration continuing to be improved on. I think that's really good for them. I think it's definitely the smart thing to do now that they have it on the platform. Number 5 on the headlines. The June Summer Game Fest 2023 schedule has been revealed. Dev, let's run through this real quick and kind of give our thoughts on some of these things. Some of these showcases, as usual, I don't really have much to say, but
Yeah, I get
let's run
it.
through it. So, starting on June 1st, there will be a Meta Quest Gaming Showcase. It's the third annual showcase. Will feature over 40 minutes of exclusive new games coming to Meta Quest VR headsets, including titles debuting during a 15-minute pre-show.
I'm excited for that one. I really want them to announce the next headset because that's the one I'm getting. So we'll see.
Before we move forward, Deborah, show that I'm a good friend and I gave you a liquid death today.
Oh yeah,
I gave him a liquid death.
drinking liquid death today.
I allowed him to. It's so good. You said that Target had the teas. I might go see if I can snag a case tomorrow. So which tea did you get before we continue? Okay. Mm, okay. Cool. That's
Not
probably
a,
what I would go
not a
for.
sponsor.
We're really not, but if they want to,
Yeah.
big believer in their brand. Like for you, I was always like a fan of the Go Birds podcast where they were sponsored by them, and then Bell and the Birdman just continued the sponsorship and good stuff. Send me water. That's all I want. Just keep sending me water. I don't even need money. Just give me water. Give me H2O, and I'll sell your product. It's amazing. It's an amazing product, regardless. Anyways, June 6th, we have the Gorilla Collective showcase with does not have a start time yet. But running from June 6th to the 13th, Gorilla Collective and The Mix provide a platform for dozens of indie titles, both in live streams and at a physical event. In addition to Gorilla Collective Online Showcase, it also hosts broadcasts from partners Black Voices in Gaming and Dames for Games. June 8th, Jeff Keighley's big showcase, the Summer Games Fest, and that will be at 3 p.m. Eastern, 12 p.m. Pacific. Jeff Keighley's big summer showcase unfolds live from the YouTube Theater in Los Angeles. If previous years are any indication, expect a number of world premieres from AAA publishers and indie studios alike.
Yo, that logo is cool as hell.
Yeah, no. Jeff Keighley does a great job with the Summer Games Fest and all that stuff.
I think he's definitely getting. It's every year. It's a little bit better than the last. So
Yeah, I mean, I just think he needs to find a better balance between the amount of ads and the amount of game
I mean, I think the
reveals.
only other option is to charge his companies a lot of money, and he doesn't want to do that.
But I
The
would
show
push.
has to get
I would
paid for.
push back that the game companies will pay for the spotlight.
Yeah,
'cause
sure, they'll pay, but I think
it's
he's trying to-
advertising. It's how it works.
but I think right now he needs to worry about it being accessible before he can start charging more money.
Sure, and I'm not saying don't have ads at all, but I just think that if you have a 2-hour showcase and
I don't think
40
it's as,
minutes of it is ads. That's a problem.
I don't think it's as much as you. I don't know. I don't ever think it's as much as you say it is.
Well, the problem that happens is
There
that
are a lot of
he
ads,
jams
but-
it at the end, and that's why you don't remember it, because the first bit of it, like the first half of it, is like no ads,
Yeah.
and then all of a sudden it's like, all right, here's 5 ads, and then a reveal, and then 6 ads, and then a reveal, and then like next thing you know, you have like 2 more announcements. I don't know. I'm looking forward to it. I think we're gonna see some really cool stuff that day.
You'll see Kojima probably,
Yeah, you'll probably see Kojima, as you always do.
and probably a Muppet.
And probably a Muppet. Those are great predictions by you. But I'm looking forward to it. Day of the Devs will also be that day. It usually does follow the Summer Games.
What
showcase.
time on June 8th for
3
noon?
p.m.
Okay. Oh, 3.
Yeah, 3. Try to do a live watch along for that. We'll see what happens. But yeah, Day of the Devs happens afterwards. Double Fine and I Am 8-Bit's big indie game Bonanza airs right after Summer Games Fest. If you're an indie aficionado, the event usually delivers new trailers and announcements. On June 9th, we have the Tribeca Games Spotlight. It's the interactive side of the annual New York City Film Festival. Highlights a small selection of upcoming games nominated by the Tribeca. June 10, the Wholesome Games Direct. This is at 12 p.m. Eastern on the 10th. This is a 70. It's about an hour, and it's literally the Wholesome Direct. I've watched a few of them.
Okay.
It is just the most like Stardew Valley,
Okay.
Animal Crossing.
I mean, those are 2 great games.
No, they are. This isn't me hating on it. This is what to expect. Like
Okay.
this is like very wholesome video games with no violence whatsoever. Very cute art styles. Like a good amount of farming.
I don't think I've ever watched one. So.
I mean,
The what it is description is perfect. The coziest indie showcase.
Exactly. Yeah, it's very cozy, and I've watched it. The games in them aren't
70,
always
70 plus titles. They're gonna.
Yeah, they usually do rattle
Holy
off quite a lot
jeez.
of them.
Yeah, that sounds awesome. I'll check it out.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely worth watching that in that week with all the other stuff, but it usually gets drowned out by bigger announcements and stuff like that. Also on that day, the Future Game Show, Games Radar's annual digital showcase, and will boast over 40 new game trailers, including world premieres.
Nice.
The same day still, OTK Games Expo,
OTK.
hosted by popular Twitch streamer Asmongold, who is joined by panelists Emiru and Esfand. The OTK Games Expo is a 3-hour event that shines a spotlight on 30 games. June 11th, the big one, the Xbox Games Showcase, followed by a Starfield Direct. Now, obviously,
Yes.
they have cut out the Bethesda name. This is Xbox, as they should. And this is at 1 p.m. on that day.
Very exciting.
Very exciting day. Really looking forward to it. Obviously, they have to really deliver here. I think Phil Spencer, during the kind of funny interview that he did a few weeks ago when he was talking about Redfall and everything, he still said that he's very enthusiastic about this showcase. And I mean, I'm still going to give him the benefit of the doubt on it. I mean, I think that he knows that we're close to that 1 game a quarter. And so I think that we should see a lot of stuff here. I would expect to see Avowed. I would love to get an update on Fable. I don't know if we're going to, but I would really love to hear something on Fable. Maybe some State of Decay 3. I think it's about time to hear from them.
I agree with that one. I think State of Decay. I'm a little worried about the other 2 for now.
The game that I really want to see more than any other game is I want to see what Compulsion Games is working on. So that's the studio that made We Happy Few, a very Bioshock-esque game. That's how I would describe it to people that haven't played it.
Yeah.
I played We Happy Few. My biggest problem with that game was that it clearly was on a very tight budget, it felt like, because it was a lot of recycled, because I played the game and you could stop a quarter of the way through. It literally just kind of has you do the exact same thing like 3 more times.
Okay.
I didn't even finish the game, to be honest, but I was really in love with the world. I was really in love with that first hour is so good and it really hooks you. I just would love to see what they've been doing with all this time and money.
Okay.
I'm very excited to see something from them, and I hope that we see something from them on June 11th. Same day, we have the PC Gaming Show, their yearly celebration of all things PC gaming. There will be also that day the Final Fantasy 16 pre-launch celebration.
Oh, that's cool.
It is cool. I'm not probably gonna pay any attention to that. I was thinking about getting Final Fantasy 16, but there's no chance that I'm gonna be done Zelda by June 16th.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I guess wait for what you see, because apparently a lot of people are excited about it.
I think it's going
Like,
to be really good. I do
yeah.
think it's going to be really, really good.
And you enjoyed 15. Yeah, 15, right?
I didn't get to play 15, but
Okay.
this is going in a more action
Yeah.
route, so I don't know exactly. I mean, I'm sure I'll like it, but I mean, I do enjoy a good RPG. So to move away from that turn-based thing, which it has for a
Oh yeah,
a while,
but I get
now.
what you're saying. No, you
Yeah.
lean more towards the.
But I loved Final Fantasy VII Remake, so I mean, I'm sure I would if it's in the same vein.
Yeah.
June 12th, Ubisoft Forward live from LA. It will be their showcase. Excuse me. Well, yeah, 1 p.m. Eastern.
I am really interested in what they have to show. Like, they have been in the bad light for a while. I imagine it's just what Assassin's Creed, or is Just Dance still happening? Is that
There's always a Just Dance. I'm sure we'll get a Just Dance. We'll get a dancing panda like boxing a king, like a Burger King king.
Yeah, I don't know if you have it in the news. I didn't scroll down, but about the whole they doubled down on.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
We'll get there.
All
We'll
right.
get there.
Yeah. So.
Yeah,
I'm worried about Ubisoft right now.
I am too.
Which I have been for a while. But
yeah, we'll see what happens. I'm expecting to see a lot of Assassin's Creed at this showcase.
Yeah, I agree.
Which I mean, I love Assassin's Creed.
Yeah.
So,
Yo, was Ubisoft the ones that put out that tweet the other day saying, "What's the last game that you?"
I did not see this. What?
It's pretty fair.
Man. Oh, brother.
Yeah, that's a little.
That's great.
Yeah, that is great.
June 13th will be the Xbox Games Showcase Extended. This is usually just kind of like a sit-down 2-hour show where they kind of elaborate further on what they showed at their main show. This is a great companion piece. Like, don't just watch this, but it's a really good companion thing.
If you want more.
Yeah, like it's not even going to be like a lot of new gameplay or anything. Like they'll show some gameplay in the B-roll.
I think they do a lot of interviews on this one. They
yeah, it's a lot of sit-down interviews with the devs. Yeah. But it's going to be good. It's really good. I've always enjoyed them. We don't have dates for this yet, but Devolver Digital has said that they will be doing a Devolver Direct. If you haven't seen the Devolver Directs, they are incredible. They are just so creative every year, and they're so funny. And
Very
Devolver,
weird.
yeah, and Devolver Digital in their own right is also a great publisher.
Yeah, they make
so this is always a look forward to show, a must see show, but we don't have the date yet.
Shenanigans.
Jeff, have you ever seen them?
I don't think so.
Oh man, you got to look up some of the old showcases.
They're very theatrical.
They're so good. Well, it's like like every year there's like a gimmick to it, and they're really good. They're really
I'll check it out.
Yeah. The Future of Play Direct will also be getting a showcase. Upload VR showcase summer 2023. But we don't have dates for any of those yet. So yeah, E3 season's here. I'm gonna keep calling it E3 season.
No, I agree. I don't care. It is E3 season.
Kind of a bummer because I don't think Nintendo's gonna do a Direct this June. I really don't think so. I think that Zelda's here, and they're just like,
why,
all right, guys,
yeah.
we're gonna drop Pikmin in July. We'll do a Direct in September.
Yeah, I don't see why.
Peace out.
I don't see why they have to. People are gonna be playing and uploading Zelda clips for a very long time. So
yeah. Number 6 on the headlines: Private Division is making a new game with Game Freak.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Okay, I did see this.
So. Yeah, Private Division, a publishing label of Take-Two Interactive Software, announced a partnership to publish a new title from Game Freak. Founded in 1989, the Japanese development company has created dozens of hit games, including more than 30 entries in the Pokemon franchise, which is widely recognized as one of the best-selling series of all time. Private Division will publish a brand new action-adventure IP from Game Freak. That just sounds great to me. Codenamed Project Bloom. To celebrate this announcement, Private Division and Game Freak have unveiled the first piece of concept art for the game, which producer Jeff should be showing on screen as we speak. This looks really cool. This art looks really cool.
Yeah.
Action adventure from the guys that made Pokemon.
The thing is, their last game that they did when they moved away from Pokemon.
Okay.
Didn't hit, it just people didn't like it. I think it was like 6 or 7 on the ratings. I could look it up, but
sure, yeah.
I like that it's kind of a tragic thing because you know that Game Freak wants to do other things besides Pokemon. They're kind of stuck in a Pokemon bubble. I think Nintendo should just buy them and just split Game Freak up. Let that have the Pokemon and have something else. I don't know.
I mean, yeah, I hear what you're saying.
Do you think it's money they're struggling with? Do you think it's
What, Game Freak or Nintendo?
Game Freak themselves?
No, they're not struggling with money. This is just something they want to do. They want to make video games.
Yeah, no, I agree.
I don't know. I'm okay with the way it is now. I think it's a good partnership to have Pokemon and Nintendo kind of work to, or Game Freak and Nintendo kind of split the what's the word I'm looking for? Split the responsibility for Pokemon, because then it will let Game Freak go out and make this action adventure game. I'm very excited for it. We'll have to see how it turns out. I think the concept
I hope it does well.
I think the concept art is very enticing. Again, it is just concept art, but I feel good about it. We'll see what happens.
It does sound good though.
Yes. Number 7 on the headlines. The Sony money has run out. Stray has received an ESRB rating for Xbox Series X, S, and Xbox One. It's a great game. You need to play it still.
Yeah, I do need to play
It's depressing as fuck though.
If it comes to Game Pass, I'll play it here.
Oh yeah, I would love that. I would definitely watch you play this game. It's sad. It's a sad game.
So I've been told.
I'm not even talking about the ending. I'm just saying it's a sad. The first 5 minutes are like extremely sad. Like, it's a depressing game, but it's an amazing game though. Hits you right in the feels. Number 8 on the headlines. Dev, you were talking about this Ubisoft. You want to know what Ubisoft's got coming out?
Yeah.
Well, here you go. So Ubisoft revealed during their fiscal year reports that fiscal year 2024, which is April of this year to March of next year, the following games are their games that they expect to release: Assassin's Creed Mirage, Avatar, Frontiers of Pandora, Rainbow Six Mobile, The Division Resurgence, Skull and Bones. Okay, I'll believe it when I see that one.
I know.
The Crew, Motorfest, X Defiant, and another large game.
A lot of big hitters there if they actually come out and they're good.
So you think this is a good year for them?
If this is true, if they can actually drop these games and like, yeah, I think this is a big year for them.
I would agree.
An Assassin's Creed game, the new Avatar game, another Division, which is Resurgence mobile?
I believe it is.
Okay, it's Skull and Bones, which to me is a big deal. I do like everything I've seen of it. It's just I don't know.
I have zero faith in this game. I'll believe it when I see it when the reviews hit. Like, this is one that I would absolutely not be picking up until I see some reviews.
Yeah, no, I have to see reviews, but if it's Assassin's Creed Black Flag expanded, that's what I want.
But what if it's Assassin's Creed Black Flag retracted?
Yeah.
Like,
I can't. And then
well, I mean, I disagree with that. I think Assassin's Creed's going to have big numbers.
Assassin's Creed Mirage is going to be. I think it's still the biggest game on this list.
Oh, absolutely.
I'm
extremely excited for Assassin's Creed Mirage.
Yeah, it's going back to the roots of Assassin's Creed. The art style just looks pretty. I know. It's just. I think it's going to be the best one on this list if they can hit it. I have to see more of X Defiant, but if it's as good as Jeff is saying, then yeah, that's another big hit for them.
I agree. And then, of course,
another large game. And
yeah, another large game. Yeah, no, I definitely agree with your point. I mean, right now, like I said earlier, it's a bad year for Call of Duty to lose people because there's a lot of stuff coming out, and that market share can change if they're not careful. Now, obviously, it won't happen in the course of a year, but enough little hits, it'll chip away.
Yeah, I think also their last shooter didn't do that well. It was the what's their one that they put out that's very competitive? Like, you're breaking in the. I can't think of the name of it right now.
I don't know.
I know it's a really big game.
Are you thinking of Rainbow Six Siege?
Yeah, Rainbow Six Siege, but they put out I think it was called Quarantine.
Oh yeah, Quarantine. Well, they changed it Extraction.
Extraction, yeah.
Because they were like, "Hey, here's our new game, Rainbow Six Quarantine," and then like the pandemic happened, and they're like, "Did we say Quarantine? We meant Extraction," and that game just flopped massively.
Yeah, that game flopped.
That was terrible. Sticking with Ubisoft news, number 9. So Ubisoft, Devroro, they're going to be increasing the amount of Assassin's Creed developers working on the IP by over 40%.
Which is insane.
Which your initial thought may be, oh, they're going to go on a hiring spree and hire a bunch of developers. This is great.
I wish.
No, they are going to be repurposing 40% from other companies in Ubisoft or other developers in Ubisoft and moving them to Assassin's Creed.
Which means a lot of games are going to be canceled. We're going to hear about a lot of Ubisoft cancels in the coming years.
Yep.
And we're going to get a lot of Assassin's Creed which
it's good, but it's also like
it's a
it's
double-edged
it's a mixed
sword
bag.
because
Yeah.
we had this before. They did this before where they released Assassin's Creed too much and they said, you know what, let's take a break. We got to slow down. And it seems like increasing by 40%. It's happening all over again.
Yeah, Yves Mo said that currently 2,000 developers are working on Assassin's Creed. 2,000, by the way.
Insane.
And they're expecting it to increase in the coming years to 2,800. I just think for me, it's never been about how often you put these games out. I know some people get sick of the yearly releases. I think that my favorite period in Assassin's Creed history was back when they were doing the yearly releases. Then they stopped for a little bit, and then they went back to it a little,
But those games are so much more focused than these large.
That's what I'm saying. Maybe we should go back to the focus games.
It's not even the RPG games that are like. It's not because they're RPGs. It's because of everything else around it. You know what I mean? Like the RPG games have really cool stuff about them.
No, I mean I hear you. I agree, and that's why I think that there is a place for both styles. But I think that this yearly release worked when, like you said, it was a focused game.
Yeah.
Where it was like, hey, Assassin's Creed 2, sit down, play it, 40 hours in, out. That's 40 if you're completing the game.
Yeah.
And
they were large games too.
They
but
were.
These games are way too large and they're so unfocused.
Yeah, like Valhalla. Like I'm scared now by those Assassin's Creed games. Like because the difference is like at least we'll talk about tiers in a little bit. But like other open worlds do a much better job at making you feel like it's worth exploring.
Yeah.
And with Valhalla, I just after a point I was like, just kill me.
Yeah.
I'm just done with it. I can't do it anymore.
So
and then I continued to do it.
Yeah.
Like, it was terrible.
I hope it's just all these new developers. I hope it's quality over quantity, which I don't think it will be, but we'll see.
Yeah. All right. Number 10 in the news. Time to upset producer Jeff. WrestleQuest has been delayed.
Oh.
The studio put out the following statement. Friends, wrestlers, and cat aficionados, we come bearing updates. We cannot wait for you all to finally jump in and explore all of WrestleQuest. After 4 years, a 200,000K plus original word count, many power bombs to settle disputes, and countless gallons of baby oil, we're down to the final stretch of development. The WrestleCats have been busy, performing multiple focus groups and gathering hours of playtesting feedback to get the game to style and profile. The added time has allowed us to go back to our wish list and add in new and improved features like an entirely redone UI, accessibility options, a fully updated world map, enhanced visuals, more sweat, and a gorilla press quantity of game balancing. With 50 plus hours of gameplay content, it is something that we are incredibly proud of, and we are eager to share WrestleQuest with the world. As we race towards the May 2023 finish line to bring this giant of a game to our standard across all platforms, we also secured a new partnership we are extremely excited about. Unfortunately, this development also resulted in certain issues outside of our control. As such, we want to get an update out to everyone that has continued to wave their foam fingers in anticipation. After discussions with Skybound, we agreed we will be moving the launch of the game to this summer. We are expecting to announce the official shiny new confirmed date later this month. While we are disappointed that we couldn't share the entirety of WrestleQuest with you sooner, like we hoped, we firmly believe this is the right choice with respect to our players and the sweat, and more sweat we have poured into building the best game we have ever made. We can't wait for you to get your hands on it. Sweat and love, Mega Cat Studios. Jeff, talk to me. How are you feeling?
I was actually wondering which game was going to come out first, WrestleQuest or Fight Forever, AEW Fight Forever. It's looking like they're going to be having a race to see who actually does come out first.
Yeah, I mean, luckily, I don't think that this is that bad of a delay. I mean, it's the summer, so it'll be June to August. So I think that's okay. And you know what? I actually think that is a great move for them. I mean, the summertime is when you want to get out these smaller, more ambitious projects because it gives them less. Again, like May with Zelda, I don't know if that's a good idea. So, and then Final Fantasy and Street Fighter are coming out next month. So, Diablo as well. I would just stay clear of this May, June area, but that's just me. So, interesting thought from a wrestling perspective, Jeff, because again, obviously we also do the Broken Tables podcast here on this channel. Subscribe, by the way. something caught my eye when reading this when they said that they acquired a new partnership that they are extremely excited about. Do you think that this could be a partnership with a wrestling company, like a promotion? I wonder because it is interesting who's in the game because I mean Jeff Jarrett's in the game, or at least he consulted on the game, and then but I think so did Booker T. So I mean I'm not sure. I mean obviously I don't want it to be partnered with WWE, but I would probably still play this game knowing that it was developed before WWE got their hands on it. That's true. I would be hopeful. So I'm excited for it. Number 11, and I realize I didn't include a link for this. AEW Fight Forever, sticking with the wrestling news. We have a rumored release date of June 27th. The following comes from Fightful Select. After years of speculation and a few moved planned release dates, Fightful Select has learned that as of today, which was Friday, the AEW Fight Forever release date is scheduled for June 27th. Mike Straw accurately reported recently that he heard the date would be around the AEW New Japan Pro Wrestling Forbidden Door show. Fightful has heard from several retailers that they were told a late June release before confirming June 27th. We've been told that AEW does hold the rights to the engine, so a future game release with it is possible. The working plan was for the Ukes title to be a one-off with constant updates. Though we've heard from that have worked on the game say it plays very smoothly, resembles WWF No Mercy in that sense. There are some limitations with the creator wrestler, and there weren't plans for a community creations that Fightful had heard of last time they'd asked. The Fightful was told an official announcement about Fight Forever would be coming over the next week. So could see an announcement either for Wednesday on Dynamite, Friday on Rampage, or maybe at Double or Nothing on Sunday. I'm very excited. Some really good wrestling video games coming out, and I like that they're trying to make it as clear as they can that this is not a simulation game. This is meant to be a fighting slash brawling kind of game. It's not going to be the most like stamina and all that stuff, which I mean, I'm okay with them not doing that. So I'm down for it. But the achievements that we talked about last week all sound, we talked about them on the Broken Tables podcast because we didn't do the game room last week. But the achievements all sound great. There's a create a wrestler, create a stadium, create an arena. It just seems like it's going to be a fun time, and I'm looking forward to it. Number 12 on the headlines, Devroro. I don't know if you've heard this, but The Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom came out last week. Do you think it sold well?
Probably did okay.
Yeah, it did fine.
A few hundred maybe.
Yeah, it only sold 10 million copies worldwide in its first 3 days.
Insane.
Wild.
Yeah.
The fastest selling game in the history of the Legend of Zelda series. This is pretty much on par with Pokemon.
It's not surprising to me.
No, it's not. It's pretty actually on par with what Pokemon Scarlet and Violet did. I believe it also did 10 million in its first 3 days. So, love to see it.
Yeah.
We'll be talking about Zelda shortly. We're getting through the news headlines. Number 13. PlayStation Showcase is announced for this Thursday, May 24th at 4 p.m. Eastern. Dev, what do you want to see from PlayStation here? So PlayStation said that this will be, I believe, about an hour and a half. It will run a bit over an hour, focusing on PS5 and PSVR 2 games in development from their first-party studios. They also mention their AAA third-party partners and indie creators too.
I think besides Spider-Man and maybe, I doubt we'll see Wolverine. I just want to see some new stuff. I think PlayStation is usually good with their first-party stuff. So yeah, it's exciting.
Yeah, I mean PlayStation, they've kind of been keeping quiet. Obviously, last year they had some really strong first-party releases that kind of let them coast through the year.
Yeah.
But now we kind of don't really know what's on the horizon.
Besides Spider-Man, yeah.
Besides Spider-Man, it's like the meme. It's like I have nothing left but Spider-Man. But so yeah, I mean we'll have to see what we see on Thursday. But I'm excited for it. I mean I'm sure we'll see some big third-party publisher. Sony loves bringing in the third-party AAA games to make it seem like they're only on PlayStation when they're not. They're coming to both. But well, I'm not being serious. Like it's the truth. Tell me when I'm telling lies.
I mean, but it's not a bad thing. You said it's a bad thing.
I didn't say it was a bad thing. I said it's going to be some great games there.
There will be.
There will be. I'm very excited for it. Let's see. Oh, sorry. Number 14, Mortal Kombat 1 officially unveiled. So I actually did some reading because I haven't played a Mortal Kombat game in years. I'm not gonna lie to you. This was actually kind of like it's like a reboot, but it's also not, because in the story in 11, it actually makes sense for, like, because I guess one of the characters goes back in time. Um, but so the universe is reborn, created by fire god Liu Kang. It has a new fighting system, game modes, finishers, etc. It's got cross-play, cross-progression. The trailer is pretty badass.
I know. I wish the trailer was playing because the trailer is really cool.
Yeah, I think producer Jeff can throw it up right now. And this game comes out September 19th on PS5, Xbox Series, Switch, and PC. Yeah, I'm excited for this. I think it looks really good. September's... I know I'm not getting it.
Yeah.
September is crazy.
First of all, it is a crazy year for fighting games.
It really is.
Yeah, if you like fighting games, if you like all the fighting games, you're
Street Fighter, Tekken, and
Mortal Kombat. Insane.
Like, even if you like if you like wrestling, AEW has their game.
Yeah.
WWE put out their game with however bad it was. I don't give a shit, but that happened. So, like, you got both of the companies putting their wrestling games out. Like, I just need Nintendo to come out and be like, Smash Brothers. But, like, everyone else, yeah, I mean, everyone else is putting out their fighting game. It's a great year if you're a fighting fan. Though.
Yeah,
I
definitely.
completely agree with that. It is awesome. But yeah, hell of a great trailer there. Number 15. Devroro, do you think GTA 4 is coming out next year?
I don't think so.
Well, during Take-Two's annual investor call and financial update, comments were made that clearly suggested GTA 6 could surface as soon as 2024. It's difficult to see how anything else could have been alluded in the comments made by Take-Two, the parent company of Rockstar Games. Following a record-breaking year for Take-Two in terms of financial performance, even loftier goals have been put in place for the year ahead, specifically for the fiscal year 2024 through 2025. It was reported that there are certain things happening in that period that would change the face of the company for the better, and one of those things is supposedly the launch of GTA 6.
Yeah,
Here is the quote during the earnings call. Looking ahead, fiscal year 2025 is highly anticipated year for our company. For the last several years, we have been preparing our business to release an incredibly robust pipeline of projects that we believe will take our company to even greater levels of success. In fiscal 2025, we expect to enter this new era by launching several groundbreaking titles that we believe will set new standards in our industry and enable us to achieve over $8 billion in net bookings.
Look, I don't doubt them. I don't doubt Rockstar, but man, those are crazy claims. Several games?
Yeah, they the groundbreaking titles,
Yeah.
plural.
Yeah, that's I don't think, like, Red Dead, we haven't heard anything about a Red Dead. I don't think they're working on a Red Dead, right? Like, I mean, I guess they're working on it.
They might be working on it, but they take like 7 or 8 years.
Yeah.
So I would say they're probably working on one, but they're probably very early in development.
I mean, GTA is the most likely, but even that, I can see that in 2025. I can't see that in 2024.
Oh.
We'll see.
Take-Two seems very enthusiastic about next year, though.
Yeah.
I mean,
I wonder if Rockstar is like, no, what are you saying? Stop.
It'll get announced for the year and then get delayed.
Yeah. Don't give it a date if you're not 100% sure.
All right. Number 16.
Yeah, because you don't want your game to be in development hell.
There you go. Like Bioshock 4 is rumored to be. On Twitter, this comes from Insider Gaming. On Twitter, a leaker has posted what seems to be an expansive expose on the state of Bioshock 4, claiming that for a while now, the game has been firmly rooted in development hell. It was alleged that the project has been rebooted 4 times. The studio boasts inexperienced employees, and poor management has led to the project crumbling at its very foundations. It has been more than 10 years since the last Bioshock game, Infinite, was released. That was a successful enough title, receiving critical acclaim and positive reviews across the board. But since then, the franchise has been plunged into darkness. It was generally assumed that Bioshock 4 was in development behind closed doors, but the latest leak suggests it is suffering so badly it might never be released. In a Twitter thread posted by the user Oops Leaks, that's a great name for someone that leaks things, it was explained that the project, otherwise referred to as Bioshock Isolation, was rebooted in summer of 2022 for the 4th time. There has reportedly been a high level of turnover internally that has led to inexperienced developers working on the project, and allegedly, they're sorely mismanaged. In one tweet, Oops Leaks writes, with an unsourced quotation, the narrative team has faced the biggest challenges, as they have been unable to write a script worthy of a renowned franchise over these years. This became the key factor of the reboot. However, it was also pointed out during Take-Two's earnings calling that we just talked about that Bioshock 4 is still on track to release the fiscal year 2025. That means it could drop anywhere from April 2025 to March 2026. What do you think's going on with Bioshock?
I don't know, but it's very worrying for it to be rebooted 4 times.
Yeah.
I hope Take-Two can be patient with Bioshock, because Bioshock is a very big and important franchise to a lot of people.
Yeah, definitely.
There's a lot of Bioshock-esque games that come out to try to fill the void, but Bioshock is Bioshock.
I mean, Ken Levine has his game coming out, and he created Bioshock. And
yeah.
I forget what it's called, but it was showed off at the Game Awards last year.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it's very worrying, but. Yeah, but I kind of believe it. Like, I don't know why. I believe it. I don't think that any game goes through. I feel like every game that's developed goes through a little bit of development hell.
Yeah.
And I don't know, 4 reboots is a lot. That does sound ridiculous, but.
So technically, this is I didn't put a number on this one. The game's in the script because I missed it, but so we'll just move it to 17. 17. Cyberpunk's Phantom Liberty expansion may release in June, so keep an eye out for that.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, that game is really turned around. I do want to go play it now.
Yeah.
I really want to jump into it.
And I remember reading about the Phantom Liberties. It's supposed to be the biggest update they've ever did for a game, which is like insane.
Okay.
Witcher ones were pretty big, so
yeah. So stay tuned. The new number 18 on the list. According to voice actor Matthew Peretta, who worked on the game, Alan Wake 2 is launching this October. I'm very excited for Alan Wake 2. Not a lot to go off other than that. Yeah. This makes sense to launch in October. This is going to be a scary game, they were saying.
Yeah.
It's moving the franchise in more of a horror roots.
The next game, I think right now you have me playing Black Ops, right?
Yeah, right now you're doing the Black Ops games.
I think I want to play Alan Wake next.
Yeah, we got to get to that.
Yeah, I really want to finish that.
All right, the last of the headlines. It took us a while, but we're here. A lot of stuff happened the last 2 weeks. Yeah. Number 18. This isn't even really news. It's just something I wanted to put to you because I was technically right because we argued about this about last year. So Eiji Aonuma, producer of the Zelda franchise, said that when they delayed the game in March 2022, the game was complete.
It was.
They just stopped.
Complete.
They
stopped out words.
Yeah, he just conveniently forgot pretty much.
Yeah.
The game was all right, fine. The game was much complete. There you go. The last year was spent on polish and making sure the wild physics of the game just work.
Which is very, very important because it is a physics-based game.
The game was done.
It was not
They
done.
could have slapped it and put it out there.
No, but they don't do that.
They don't, but I was technically right because last year, Jeff, we had argued. I was like, Zelda should definitely be coming out in holiday 2022. It's going to be done by then. And it was done. They just took their time, which is fine, but I'm still
No, you have to polish a game and put it. You can't unpolish a game and call it done.
All I'll say is I wish more game companies did that. No, like took a year.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought you were talking about No,
I wish more game developers and publishers are like, hey, this game's done, but like, what if we just work on it for a year?
No, I agree with you.
Please.
Because we've been playing the game and everything works. Everything works. And in a game
We're gonna get there. We're gonna get there. There. We're almost there. We're almost there. Be patient. Patience.
Yeah.
Right. Absolutely. All right. So that's it for the news headlines. Let's start with topic number 1 of 2.
Yep.
Xbox. The Microsoft Activision Blizzard acquisition update.
This is a big one.
This is good.
Yeah.
So, we are going to start with this first headline inside of the topic. That Xbox has hired the Queen's lawyer.
Yeah, I saw that.
And she is now as if the Queen is the ghost of the Queen is like fuck the CMA. No, the Queen's lawyer is now helping Activision fight the blocked acquisition in the UK. Both Activision Blizzard and Microsoft have reportedly hired high-profile lawyers to lead their appeals of the recent decision by the UK's CMA. According to the Financial Times, Activision Blizzard has hired Lord, like, come on, this guy is Lord David Panic KC, who previously represented the Queen, Elizabeth II, Boris Johnson, and even Princess Diana. Panic works for Blackstone Chambers, and his clients have also included the Prime Minister of the UAE and the entire Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. Jesus Christ. More recently, he represented Boris Johnson amid the former Prime Minister's Partygate scandal. You know, it's a pretty big name in the legal world. There must be like somewhere like a legal podcast. They're like, this guy? They're like freaking out. You know what I mean?
His price tag must be ridiculous.
Yeah, this the kind of lawyer that just makes you give up your case. You're like, well, that's it. Never mind.
Yeah. Like, I'm sorry. He's represented an entire country and the Queen.
Yeah.
Yeah. Time to pass
and
it up.
won,
right? But anyways, so the big reason where this is a topic of the show is the Activision Blizzard deal has been approved by the European Commission. Microsoft acquisition of Activision Blizzard has been approved by the European Commission. This approval brings Microsoft's historic deal one step closer to completion. The European Commission announced on its website that it has approved the proposed acquisition under the EU merger regulation. The EC reached similar conclusions as the UK's Competition and Markets Authority, the CMA, that the deal would not harm the console market, but could harm cloud gaming, but was satisfied with Microsoft's proposed remedies for these concerns. Microsoft's solutions appeared so effective to the EU that it now expects the deal will bring significant improvement to the cloud gaming market, a stark difference to the CMA's conclusion that it would destroy the cloud gaming market. The commitments offered by Microsoft fully address the competition concerns identified by the Commission and represent a significant improvement for cloud gaming as compared to the current situation, said the European Commission statement. Addressing its concerns that the deal going through would monopolize the sector, Microsoft has offered a 10-year licensing commitment for consumers in the European Economic Area. This commitment guarantees that Activision Blizzard games will not be locked to Game Pass or the Xbox cloud gaming platform. Instead, any cloud gaming any cloud streaming service will be permitted a free license to provide Activision Blizzard games to EEA users on their platform. In addition, EEA consumers will be granted permission to stream all current and future Activision Blizzard games. Oh no, an ad. Will not be locked, they can own the license for any cloud gaming service of their choice. So I thought that this was huge for Xbox. This was like, they really needed this.
Yeah. I'm surprised that the EU passed it before the CMA. I thought that we were going to have to wait for the CMA's approval first.
Well, so you got to keep in mind, with Brexit happening, the CMA, the UK and the EU are now separate.
No, I knew that, but I did feel like the CMA, I feel like a lot of people were listening to the CMA. I thought that was going to dictate where everything else went. For the EU to kind of jump the gun and get it approved it's a big deal. And, and now it kind of puts pressure on the CMA to approve it if the EU is, you know what I mean?
So, I completely agree with you in the second part, but I mean, honestly, I think that really just came down to the EU looked at it and said, what are they talking about?
Yeah.
I think the EU at some point, I don't know if I have the quote in any of my notes, but they even put out a quote to the CMA. It's like, you did the math wrong. They legitimately just say that to the CMA. Like, you did not do this correctly. Like, you are incorrect in your viewpoint. Which, like, look, I'm not going to accuse companies of, bribing, but like, I still do think that PlayStation paid them to have an issue with this. I mean, like, no one else really has had an issue except for the FTC. And the interesting about the FTC is that I think the FTC don't have a leg to stand on in this case, because a judge has asked the FTC, like, well, have you talked to Microsoft? Were there any concessions offered? Have you asked them for anything to approve this deal? And then, you know what they said? They said, no, we have not spoken to Microsoft about this. We are blocking this straight up, no discussion, period. It's like, that's not how this is supposed to work. It is laugh at them and throw the case out.
It is, I was going to say that because it is laughable. It seems worse for the CMA because I don't think Sony has the money to bribe, to make that kind of bribe. I just think it was incompetence on the CMA, or maybe they saw something.
I'm giving them credit here. I think that they were bribed. For them to come out and just say, like, cloud gaming. That's like, because like that's
no, because that is a real issue though. Their concerns are real,
but it's not, because everything that Microsoft's doing in the space has proven otherwise. Like, even like they're saying that, like, license free anywhere that streams games, you can play Call of Duty on.
But I think that's new development, though. I don't think that's something Microsoft started with.
So the CMA put out a statement. They said, our response to the European Commission's announcement on the Microsoft Activision acquisition. The UK, US, and European Commission competition authorities are unanimous that this merger would harm competition in cloud gaming. The CMA concluded that cloud gaming needs to continue as a free competitive market to drive innovation and choice in this rapidly evolving sector. Microsoft's proposal, accepted by the European Commission today, would allow Microsoft to set terms and conditions for this market for the next 10 years. They would replace a free, open, competitive market with one subject to ongoing regulation of games that Microsoft sells, the platforms to which it sells, and the conditions of sale. This is one of the reasons the CMA's independent panel group rejected Microsoft's proposal and prevented this deal. While we recognize and respect the European Commission is entitled to take a different view, the CMA stands by its decision.
But like I said, that does make sense. I mean, I think the first 10 years that they're worried about isn't the issue. Microsoft's very clear that the next 10 years are going to be very open. They're making so many deals with everyone, companies we have, or streaming services we haven't heard of. I think it's the after 10 years that seem more clouded. And hopefully Microsoft keeps their promise and does what they've been doing, but
See, I hear you, but I mean, I just don't think that that's their vision. I don't think that their vision is to take it away. I just don't think it is.
We don't know.
We argued about it last week when we were or 2 weeks ago when we were talking about
there's still
on what Phil Spencer was saying. Like, I don't think that their focus is strictly on just the console space.
I don't think Xbox is, but Microsoft is still just a big shitty company,
Yeah, but I think Microsoft wants the profit and
exactly they want profit. The most profitable thing for them to do is to make it theirs. Make it so that you have to buy their stuff.
But if it's cloud streaming, it doesn't work that way.
It does.
It's just a subscription.
But
I think they would rather
when you buy a subscription, you get it for the games on that subscription.
Sure, yes.
That's the issue. Microsoft's going to own a very big important piece of that.
I understand that, but I think that it's in their best interest to
for the next 10 years. It is.
I think. Period. I think. Look. I've talked about it. And I know when I went on TJ's show, I talked about it with him. But I think that the idea for Xbox, I think what they really want to do is, I think that they want to have two pillars, and then everything else is just them creating games. And I think those two pillars of revenue are Minecraft and Call of Duty. I think that they are going to put Minecraft and Call of Duty in as many places as they can, everywhere, and let that bring in all of the billions and billions of dollars of revenue. Have it available everywhere, so that way you can make more money. And then that way, underneath these pillars holding it up, you have games like Pentiment and Hi-Fi Rush coming out. At the same time, Microsoft is going to put out other big releases like Doom or Gears of War or Halo or Starfield. But those games, while they're going to do well and generate revenue of their own way, they are in no way going to hit the billions of dollars that Minecraft and Call of Duty can bring in, especially if Call of Duty is everywhere. I just don't think Microsoft cares to do that.
Even with those big pillars, those are very small when you compare it to just Game Pass. Game Pass on its own is a way bigger pillar than those two games.
Okay, I'll rephrase that. I think three pillars: Game Pass, Call of Duty, and Minecraft.
But the Game Pass is way bigger than those two games easily. And as cloud gaming gets bigger, that one's just going to increase more and more. That's the issue. That's what you have to make sure lines stay in check, because
I hear you. And can I borrow a couple $100?
Why?
Because clearly your Sony check has cashed.
No, you're wearing your Microsoft underwear today.
No,
you're
I'm
all
not.
green, and I'm pretty sure your underwear is probably Microsoft green, isn't it?
Oh,
You just got to be fair, because these
I am
companies.
being fair.
No, because these companies are companies. You said it yourself. Microsoft wants to make the most amount of money. All the stuff that they're worried about would make Microsoft the most amount of money.
Right. But if they can have Call of Duty on streaming services that aren't theirs, and they can sell $70 for a streaming rights per person, they'll do it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's why it's okay, and that's why they're going to give people the option, because here's the thing also. You're not going to bring everybody into Game Pass. That's
Where's
just
TJ
not...
at? I need TJ, because
he's gone. But so, like, my point is, you want to bring people into Game Pass, obviously, right? Like you said, it's the most profitable of those pillars.
yeah.
There are still, no matter what you do, there are going to be people that don't want to get on Game Pass.
Mm-hmm.
By giving people the choice to just go out and get Call of Duty, regardless, that's all you need. Like, that's fine. Like, give people the choice to do it, and they'll do it. They'll make that choice. Either they'll get Game Pass and you'll make money, or they won't get Game Pass and you'll make money. So it's like, okay, there you go. That's just how I see that that's how I think that they're doing it. So I'm not concerned about it. And neither is the UK or China. I don't have it in my notes, but China also approved the deal.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, of
There's
course.
definitely money going in there.
Oh, I'm sure. So here's one last little bit. Actually, I have a few other bits after that. But so the CEO of Microsoft, Satya Nadella, he was on TV last week, and he was asked a very interesting question, and it was interesting. So he was on CNBC, and Dell was asked if there was a future where he could see Microsoft selling a product in the US and Europe, but not the UK. And like, I don't know if you saw this clip at all, but he basically kind of like smiles. He's like, well, let's wait for it all to play out. And I just think that if the UK is not careful, I think Microsoft is absolutely willing to cut out products. Like, we might see that. I mean, obviously we talked about Michael Pachter saying that was definitely a possibility.
Yeah, there's a possibility.
Where they just say, okay, well, no, like, we won't bring Call of Duty to the UK, or we won't bring Game Pass to the UK. Like, I don't know, there will be some sort of thing that'll hurt consumers. And I think this is Microsoft playing the game where it's like, okay, you want to block our deal, like, we're gonna throw our weight around here. We're Microsoft. I mean, like,
but I mean, that's kind of the reason why, like, Microsoft has a lot of power with this deal.
Sure.
And they're gonna throw their power around. This isn't the first time they're playing. I think right now Microsoft is playing very nice, and they're giving out a lot of stuff in order to get this deal. Once this deal goes through, the power is in their hands. They can do whatever they want afterwards. They got to keep their promises, of course.
Is it like the Power Glove?
But yeah, it is.
It's so bad.
Yeah, and like, we're gonna know what really happens. It's gonna be 10 years from now before we actually know what Microsoft's direction really is.
And look, you're not wrong. I don't 100% disagree with you. I just think that, like, we can't just sit here and like, oh, well, maybe he's in 20 years from now. Like, I know
you have to sit here and do that, though. You have to.
I don't think you have to.
If you're trying to protect consumers, you have to.
Yeah.
You have to.
Look, I'm okay with them asking questions. I just have faith that what Microsoft's doing is.
I mean, faith in a company that's your first downfall.
Well, yeah. I mean, I had faith that Sony was going to be not jerks.
Exactly.
No, I'm just kidding. I don't know. I think that's fair. I mean, they're going to play the game. If the CMA wants to play, they'll play the game, and I think.
Oh, they've been playing the game. If you don't think these 10-year deals isn't playing the game, Microsoft is playing the game.
Oh, sure. I don't know. I still just don't think it's going to be as. That's just me. It's not even a faith thing. It's just me looking at what their strategy clearly is in these early years. I just don't see that being the play for them. I think they want to have these Call of Duty, Minecraft, Game Pass pillars. Like, that's what they want, and I just don't see them changing that.
I don't even think, as big as Call of Duty is and Minecraft is, I don't even think they're pillars in this. I think Game Pass and cloud gaming is going to be huge pillars in this.
I mean, so to be fair, I'll say this:
like they've postponed putting out their cloud gaming console, or you know what I mean, like their dongle that they had.
Yeah.
And they've started making deals with Samsung to put Game Pass straight up on TVs. Like,
yeah,
they're playing the long haul. This cloud gaming is going to be big within the next 10 years. Like, it's gonna blow up, and they have the seat. They have the first ticket on the bus.
Must be nice.
It is nice for them. Yeah, they're going to be raking in money. I just hope they keep the promise that they're protecting consumers. That's all.
No, I mean, I agree, and I obviously want consumers to be protected as well.
But we just have to. It's not something that we can hope on. We just have to see it. They just have to keep their word.
Do you think they will?
For the next 10 years, absolutely.
Okay, well, I'm asking you after 10 years.
I don't know.
If you had to say.
If I don't know.
If you had to guess.
I don't know.
If someone walked in with a gun, they said, hey, what do you think's going to happen?
I don't know.
Okay, well, there you go. Devroro doesn't know.
There's no company out there that I could put, oh, what is this company going to be like in 10 years?
No, I mean, I'm just asking for a prediction, but okay, you don't have to predict if you don't want to. Here's a little interesting fact that kind of goes along with that. Devroro, so I actually found this really surprising. So the Xbox Series X and S, it sold 2 million consoles after 128 weeks in the UK. It is the 8th fastest selling home console in the UK. It's faster than the Switch. So it sold 2 million copies 128 weeks. It took the Switch 140 weeks to sell that much in the UK.
Okay.
I found that really that was like I wanted to share that. I found that like a really surprising fact. Like, do you find that surprising?
Yeah.
The Xbox One, it took 104 weeks though, so it did it faster than both.
It's a little surprising. It's a little surprising it's still more than a Switch that fast. I think
Yeah.
that's more surprising.
Well, that was what I was saying. That's why
Yeah.
I thought it was a really cool little fun fact to throw in there. And then the
Ron,
last thing,
real quick. Do you know, is this a real Xbox, this Union Jack Xbox?
I don't believe so.
No, I don't think
I don't
so.
believe so.
Dude, I was like, if they would have made an American flag one like that, I would already own it. Like, this is a legitimate like deal breaker for me. I would have bought this.
Go on. I bet you that's actually a product you can buy, like a skin, like a third party skin. Go on,
check Deep or something.
like Jeff, go on Etsy and like look up Xbox Series X American flag skin. It'll have it.
Gotcha. They
Gotcha.
should do that to celebrate.
Right. It's like America 3, we're in 0.
Yeah.
We won in the Revolutionary War, we won in the War of 1812, and we won with the Activision Blizzard acquisition. It's a good look. Last for the Xbox news. Xbox is debuting PC games on NVIDIA GeForce Now members beginning today, or as this was 3 days ago, so last week. Xbox says, we're thrilled to share that starting today, NVIDIA GeForce Now cloud gaming members in the UK, the US, and the European Union, very specifically worded there, by the way, because this is their press release.
Yeah.
Around the world can stream Gears 5, and on May 25th, we'll be able to enjoy fan favorites Deathloop, Grounded, and Pentiment. This is just the beginning of our forward-thinking 10-year partnership with NVIDIA to make PC games from Xbox Game Studios and Bethesda available to their GeForce Now members. Together, we're accelerating access to players around the globe by letting them choose how and when they game. The initial slate of launch games spans our catalog, providing players high-quality, immersive titles with a little something for everyone. Single-player campaigns, story-driven experiences, and opportunities to play with friends and family through multiplayer. Following this initial release, we'll continue to add more content from our portfolio on a regular basis to ensure players can find a new and exciting game. News and release dates will be shared via GFN Thursday updates. So,
yeah, that's cool.
It's just more stuff. They're bringing first-party games to NVIDIA. Yeah, I mean, I think the deal is going to go through. So, like, okay, so to close out on this, regardless of what happens 10 years from now, where are you at right now with the deal closing? Do you think the deal is going to go through? Do you think it's not going to go through? Like, where?
Yeah, I do think it'll go through.
Okay.
I think the UK might hurt. They might suffer at the end of it, but it might be something that they ask for. It's kind of weird.
So do you think the UK is going to, because of this, get a lesser product than Xbox fans around the world?
I think that they're going to ask for their streaming services to probably be left out of it.
Okay.
Or I don't know. I don't know how to word it right. I do think it's going to go through, and I think the UK is going to hurt at the end of the day when this is all done.
Yep. And the FTC, their case is going to get thrown out. Like it's gonna.
Yeah.
Judge asked them, have you talked to Microsoft at all? And like, have they offered anything? Have you asked them to offer anything? Have you made any demands?
Like seeing the EU pass it is a huge plus for Microsoft.
It really is.
Because if people are going to ask why, they have reasons why, you know?
Yeah. It's funny because the EU does say in comparison, like, we think not only are you wrong, you're completely wrong, because the reason that you're blocking it, we think that it'll actually improve this market.
Yeah. I mean, obviously.
And I agree, it will. Like, regardless of what happens in 10 years, I mean,
within the 10-year window, they're definitely boosting cloud gaming for a
like
whole
cloud gaming is going to need that big push, and I think Call of Duty can be that for the cloud gaming, cloud streaming.
Absolutely.
Future. All right. So we'll circle back on that. We'll stay up to date on that with the Activision Blizzard.
Yay.
Hopefully we're done with it soon. I can't wait. But we're a gaming podcast. We talk news. We're going to keep talking about it. Before we talk about The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, which we're both very excited to do, we actually saw each other yesterday for my wife's birthday party, and I was like, no, we cannot talk about Zelda. I think we said a few things.
Yeah, we couldn't help it.
But we haven't talked really at all. Before we get to that, let's dive into the game releases for the week of May 21st, 2023. Tomorrow, May 22nd, my wife's birthday. Inkbound for PC. After Us, comes out on PS5, Xbox Series, and PC on May 23rd. Amnesia: The Bunker comes to Xbox Series, PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and PC on the 23rd. Bread and Fred comes to PC on May. I have no idea. Devroro, can you look up what Bread and Fred is?
Yeah.
Convergence: A League of Legends Story comes out on PS5, Xbox Series, PS4, Xbox One, Switch, and PC on May 23rd. Producer Jeff's highly anticipated Farming Simulator 23 comes out on Switch, iOS, and Android on May 23rd. The Miasma Chronicles comes out on PS5, Xbox Series, and PC on May 23rd as well. Planet of Lana comes out on Xbox Series, Xbox One, and PC on May 23rd. This is going to be a Game Pass title. Planet of Lana looks really good. I'm excited for that one. Star Trek Resurgence comes out on PS5, Xbox Series, PS4, Xbox One, PC, May 23rd. Hello Neighbor Search and Rescue comes out on PSVR 2 and 1, ironically enough, on May 25th. Maquette comes out on Switch on May 25th. The Case of the Golden Idol comes out on Switch on May 25th as well. Lord of the Rings Gollum comes out on PS5, Xbox Series, PS4, Xbox One, and PC on May 25th. A lot of people have been talking about that Lord of the Rings Gollum game. I have no I have zero interest or information about that game, personally.
Bread and Fred looks very difficult.
What is it?
It is I'll read the description to you. Bread and Fred is a challenging co-op platformer from Apogee, where two players must cooperate to jump and climb to the top of a snowy mountain.
The Coog is here, by the way. Good evening, Coog. It's the Coog. Day Trading Doge says your name reminds me of South Park. Coog says South Park. Has the Coog? Yeah. Has the Coog never seen South Park? Oh no. That'd be crazy. South Park's great. Anyways, all right. Those are the game releases. Anything catch your eye? No, right? Because Zelda's still out.
I'm still gonna be playing Zelda.
I'm still playing Zelda.
I've heard After Us looks pretty interesting. I've seen some stuff for that. It looks like a pretty game.
I would go with Planet of Lana. I think Planet of Lana looks really good. We saw some stuff. I think that was at the Game Awards or the Summer Games Fest last year, and it's coming to Game Pass, so that always helps. All right, Devroro. Topic of the show. Topic number 2. We've both been playing Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom. How do you feel about it?
I love it. It's overwhelming. I'll give it that.
Okay.
It is difficult than the first game. It actually makes the first game seem so much more peaceful. But it's a lot of fun.
Okay. So, how do you think I feel about it?
I have no idea.
How would you like to take a guess?
Would you like
to make a prediction on this one?
Probably right now, because you have not done a dungeon yet, right?
I have not.
So I think right now you probably feel like it's more Breath of the Wild. I mean, I don't know how you feel about the new abilities.
Okay.
But I feel like from your point of view, it's probably just more Breath of the Wild right now.
Okay.
Dude, get your ass to the water temple, bro.
It's just how I explore the world. That's why I haven't done any dungeons yet. I'm gonna get there.
No, I agree. I'm the same way. Like I haven't done any dungeons yet.
Okay. So
have you? Okay, go ahead.
Before we get into this, neither of us have progressed the story very far.
Yeah.
That being said,
we're gonna leave it out. I think. Should we try to make it, or should we just go all in?
So I think we should talk about what we know. Here's the thing. So everyone watching, we are about to talk about our beginning experience with The Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom. Neither of us have progressed the main story past, like in terms of the story itself. Like we're extremely early. We're talking like 2 hours. You could probably rush to where I am in a story perspective within about an hour and a half. So
if you rush,
if you rush, so and you don't do any exploring, so yeah, if you haven't played the game at all yet and you're waiting to play it, see you guys later. But let's talk a little bit about we're going to talk completely of what we've done so far because we're in the same place storyline wise.
You're definitely further than me,
but not really.
But not much.
But not really. Anyway, so what was your question?
Have you gone back to the Great Plateau?
No, not yet.
Okay.
Why? Oh, I don't want to know if you already know.
All I'll say is you're going to do this first. I imagine you're going to do this first dungeon because you're heading in that direction.
I'm heading that direction, yeah.
Before you do anything else, go to the Great Plateau.
Like right now?
No. Before
I do the first dungeon.
Yeah, before you do the other dungeons, I would say.
Okay, so keep going my trajectory, but then go down and do it.
Maybe you should because you get something very important.
Okay.
But it's gonna take you. You can get the item. You can get the important thing and leave.
Uh-huh.
But if you complete the area, it's gonna take you a few hours.
Okay, I'll think about it.
It
I'll,
is.
I'll see what I'll see what I want.
It is a lot. I stumbled upon it and I'm in it and I'm gonna be there for a little bit.
Okay, I'll consider
It
it.
does involve the underground, but it's not too hectic.
Okay. And again, we are going to talk about the first few hours of the game. So again, be aware of that. So okay, let's talk about the beginning of this game. Let's start from the beginning.
Oh, the opening.
The opening.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah.
So I still haven't told you how I feel about this game.
Okay.
I will say that to this point, and I'm very early on, I think that I love this game. There are still things, if you don't like Breath of the Wild, which I never said I don't like Breath of the Wild, I just have issues with some of the things. It's not my cup of tea. There are a lot of things that I had issues with in Breath of the Wild that they fixed, or have at least improved on. I feel a lot more engaged. I felt like Breath of the Wild was a little too sandboxy, a little too open. I felt like there was a lot of not dead air, but I Tears of the Kingdom does a great job in the open world in a sense that it gives you more to do. I just feel like there's a lot more going on in this world than Breath of the Wild's Hyrule,
Okay.
and I really appreciate that.
I think I can see that.
It
It does make the game a little bit harder. It's not as peaceful as the first game where you can just ride around your horse. Now it seems like there's something dangerous around
Right.
every corner.
Right. I realized I went off on a tangent there. The opening of this game is incredible. They hit you right in the beginning.
Yeah.
And if you're a Zelda fan, you know. But so, again, Zelda and Link go down to this cavern and Zelda's looking at these cave paintings. She brings up the fucking imprisoning war, which is a storyline from A Link to the Past. And like as a Zelda fan, like the lore, like I'm like, what? The imprisoning war? Like it's this crazy thing. And I think that for me right now, I mean, obviously that could change as time goes on. The opening of this game, it's easily top 3 in the Zelda franchise in terms of opening for me. Maybe top 2, maybe even 1. We'll see what happens as time goes on.
It's a very
It's a great opening. This game, like, it starts off really well.
And so I was gonna say that you go deep under.
And you're full hearts, full stamina. You have the Master Sword. It's glowing. You're helping Zelda.
Just the shot of when you first walk into that room and you see the hand on the
holding
Ganondorf down, and it's
badass and it's incredible. And then obviously things happen. Link finds himself on an island in the sky, and again, spoilers.
Shirtless.
He runs shirtless, armless. Well, he has one arm.
Yeah.
He runs into Rauru, who, I won't. So there's things about Rauru that I don't think you've gone to yet, so I won't go any further than that.
Okay.
But obviously, Rauru shares the same name as the Sage from Ocarina of Time in the Light Temple, Temple of Time, which that was just really cool. And then
he's also the first king of Hyrule. They mentioned that.
Yeah, they do mention that. So that was one of the things I wasn't sure if you experienced yet or not. Okay, so let's talk about that opening area in the sky. How much did you So I did something that it felt like I was doing the right thing, but afterwards I realized I don't know if it was intentional or not. So
actually, here's one thing.
Tell me about your experience in the opening island.
I will say that I do think the Great Plateau I think still does a better job.
I agree.
As a tutorial. Than the opening of this. I don't know why. Maybe it's just being in the sky. The Sky Island is another dynamic you have on top of it. But it wasn't too bad. I think after I got the first 3 abilities you get, I kind of realized, okay, I went back and went back,
through the island.
Did the island, yeah, because I rushed to the shrines first.
Yeah.
Which I guess you kind of have to. It makes things easier to get the abilities.
Mm-hmm.
I spent about 5 hours. Maybe a little bit more up on the Sky Island, that first one, but
yeah, actually about the same.
Yeah. I don't think you were doing things wrong. It was just kind of
well. So what happened was that when I started, I was like, okay, I'm here. I'm going to start exploring. So you walk down to the Garden of Time, and then to the right there's like this snowy area.
Yeah.
And so you grab the peppers. You know what you're doing there. You've played Breath of the Wild. I went around and looped around the island before I had any of the abilities.
Oh, okay.
And it took me forever to even get around, because I was like, well, I don't want to go to the main objective because I don't know if it's going to take me off the island. Like, I want to explore first. So I go around and I explore, and I was like, why is this so difficult to traverse? Now, granted, it was because I need the abilities that you get from doing the shrines. But so I went around the island backwards.
Oh man.
And then
Actually,
and then I went into the temple and got started getting the abilities, and then I was able to go to the shrines.
Okay.
And it is so funny, and I wondered if they did that intentionally to show the player okay, this is you traversing the world without these powers. See how difficult this is? Okay, well now here's you going back around to go to the shrines, and you get these powers. It's night and day traversing this area.
Yeah.
And I wonder if they did that intentionally because based off how the map is laid out to get to that temple to progress the story, it's right there where you can loop around. A lot of people had to have done it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I wonder if that was intentional.
I was gonna say
that's brilliant. If
I don't think it is a wrong way to actually go. I went right, but I don't think there is a. I went to the right path. I mean, I'm not saying I went the right way.
Right.
But I don't think there's a wrong or right way of doing it.
No.
There's just the easier and a hard way to do it. You know.
Right. Because I did it both ways.
Yeah.
Okay. So obviously, I agree that I think the Great Plateau does do a better job of teaching the game, but I would also devil's advocate that and say well, you probably shouldn't be playing Tears of the Kingdom if you haven't played Breath of the Wild.
I agree with that as well.
So okay, so we go to the shrines, we get the abilities. Let's talk about the abilities.
Yeah.
Obviously you have Recall, you have Ultra Hand, you have Fuse,
You have Ascend,
and you have Ascend. So let's start with this. What do you think of the new abilities?
I like them.
And then let me give you a part B to this question. What do you think of them, and do you prefer them over Breath of the Wild's, Magnesis, Cryonosis, and et cetera, et cetera?
I do prefer them. So you still technically have Magnesis in Ultra Hand. It's just everything now instead of just metal. So I think it's kind of an upgrade. I'm okay with that.
Mm-hmm.
Cryosis is the one I think I missed the most of the past ones.
Okay.
Bombs is it. You find a lot of You find a lot of bombs in the area, especially underground. I'm still using the bombs that I found in the underground from that first time I went.
Mm.
That's the only one that I don't want to say I missed because these bombs are a lot stronger.
Yeah.
Than the
way
than the Breath of the Wild ones, even with the upgrade.
Mm.
But I'm okay with it. I'm okay with these flower bombs. Like I said, I think Cryosis is the only one that I think I missed because there are some areas where it's I just want to get across this water and not have to build something.
So what I'll say is, for me personally, I 100 times love the abilities in Tears of the Kingdom more than Breath of the Wild. I absolutely love it, and I wasn't expecting to. Look, I'm not the most engineering creative. You see people on online. I think producer Jeff showing some B-roll of some crazy guy linking a tank,
crazy stuff. Yeah.
Look, I'm not the guy out there making drones. I'm not the guy out there making bombers. I'm not the guy out there making giant mech suits. But I really love these abilities. These solving puzzles in this game more so than Breath of the Wild. I feel it feels so empowering as a player because it makes me feel so smart. For example, and I told you about this, and then you were like, "Oh, I figured this out too." But when playing, I felt so rewarded as a player when you come across the giant stone talus enemies, right? And you they're the ones that, especially the ones that have all the platforms with the bokoblins on them.
Mm-hmm.
They're hard to get up there to hit the enemy's weak spot, the crystal.
Mm-hmm.
But I was because I went up to one and I was like, "Oh, this is kind of rough. How am I supposed to get up there?" And then I was like, wait a minute, can I ascend through the talus? And you can. Mm-hmm. And for me, that was such a light bulb moment. And this game is just filled with so many of
those.
Right.
Yeah.
Where it's you can play this game and you can succeed in a way where it was not the intended way that the developers wanted you to do it, but you still do it. And I think that's really cool. I mean, obviously it's a double-edged sword because I've seen some people skip some really big puzzles in shrines on YouTube and stuff, just completely skip things. I know one of the reviewers said that with Ascend and everything, he was able to cut out big portions of the game. I haven't even gotten there, so I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
But that was something he did say about it. In any other game, Ascend would be a cheat code or a hack or would break the game.
It started out as a cheat.
It did. Yeah, the developer said that.
It's my favorite one. And I don't use it to cheat so much. I use it to just get around. It's so good at
great
traversing. Yeah. Leaving caves.
Leaving
caves
wells.
Are a big thing.
Wells.
Yeah.
When I was down in the wells, the first time, it didn't click, and I was like, "How do I get out of here?" I tried climbing up, couldn't climb out, and then I walked around, looked for switches and stuff, and I'm like, I don't know how to get out of this well, so I ended up fast traveling. Which again, we've talked about how I don't want to fast travel this time around. But then I went to like my second or third well, and like the light bulb, it was
Yeah.
like, wait,
Ascend.
I can use Ascend
Yeah.
to get out of the well. And I just think from a design standpoint, it is just an absolute masterclass in game design where everything, like these abilities just feel so rewarding. And like while I still am not thrilled with the direction of Zelda being too sandboxy, which I think obviously this is still pretty sandboxy. It's
Oh, this
definitely
is.
it's
I was
an
gonna.
improvement.
I was gonna disagree with you that this is more sandboxy than Breath of the Wild, and I'm not saying that's a
Well,
bad
I'm
thing
saying
in a bad way.
what I'm saying is it does scroll it back and it does do it a little bit less, but it's still pretty
It's not
sandboxy.
less at all. Have you seen the stuff they're building? You can't do like just the building aspect alone, just the Zonite devices.
Yeah.
There's about 30 of them, and I only have 10.
I meant more sandboxy. I'm sorry. I
Oh yeah,
realized-
like,
yeah. I
the
meant more
sandbox on this is crazy, and I hope, and I do think it would be really cool to see an open world Zelda, less sandboxy, more.
So I would like to see the Zelda franchise still kind of sometimes go the direction of leaning on its more traditional laurels. Like again, this is not me hating the game. I love this game. I'm obsessed with playing this game. But I still do really love the original 3D Zelda formula. That's just the fact of it. I think that as much as I don't like the fusibility, like I joke that the fusibility looked dumb. So like let's talk about the actual. We talked about Ascend a little bit.
Yeah.
I think Ascend is phenomenal. It's
Mhm.
really cool. Let's talk about Fuse. So originally I was like, I think Fuse looks stupid. It's grown on me. I do appreciate that it can bump your attack power up. I do appreciate that it can kind of repair your weapons when they're a little on the verge of breaking. I've moved up from laughing at it to it's okay. It's my least favorite of the abilities, or not even least favorite. It's just my least used. I forget to use Fused all the time.
I don't know how. If I have a weapon in my hand and I'm about to go into a fight, I have to fuse it with something. I don't use any weapons in combat that isn't fused with another weapon because if I do, these deteriorated weapons break a lot easier than the original one does. You have to fuse it if you want it to last. Yeah.
Well, no, that's what Deborah's saying, and
Yeah.
I just forget to use it. I've tried it a few times. At one point, I fused some spikes onto my shield, and that was pretty
Oh
cool.
yeah.
Like I've used it, but more often than not, I forget.
If you have a shield or a weapon and you don't have something fused to it, you should definitely look into that. Uh, I'll give you just like you talked about taking down the um the rock talus, right?
Yeah.
You get the heart.
Yeah, well, I was gonna say I have done that. Anytime I get a rock talus heart, I'll usually put it on a spear or a club or something like that.
Such a great hammer.
Yeah.
Hammers in general, knocking down like you're breaking a lot of rocks in this game, a lot more than in the first game. You need a hammer at some point.
Oh, and I do, and like I said, I am
Okay.
using it. It's not like I'm going in there and not using it.
If you have a shield, don't not put something on it just because you like the aesthetic of the shield. Definitely fuse it with something.
I'm still gonna do it.
Yeah, I mean, and
Well,
Breath of the
Breath
Wild
of the
too.
Wild, yeah.
Yeah,
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 and you get a skateboard.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I've seen it. Yeah, it's all awesome stuff. At the end of the day, though,
If you're
I
doing
still
stuff-
just don't find it a very aesthetically pleasing. And you know what? To me, that's something that matters.
Okay.
We can make fun of it. It's fine. I'm still playing the game. I'm still using the fuse function. But for example, I use the amiibos to scan for stuff, and I got the shield from Wind Waker. And you know what? I like the way the Wind Waker shield looks. Now, granted, it has a shield power of 65, so it's not like I'm just using any old shield. Like if it was a shield with 3, I could understand putting something on it. But me personally, I like that, and I'm going to keep it that way. Now the swords, I do fuse a little bit more. I've been using obviously the Bokoblin horns to raise the attack.
What about the one-off items? So, for example, the puff mushroom. You put it on your shield, it gets hit once, it disappears, and now there's a cloud of smoke, and now you can go around and silent strike everyone in that smoke. It's so useful.
I know, and again, like that's just I'm so busy looking at the world from a different aspect of how I'm just exploring. I'm just not thinking to use the fuse ability that much. I'm much more like looking at it from an Ascend Ultra Hand perspective when I'm looking at how to tackle things. But that's just me.
I guess, but I mean, like when you get into combat scenarios, you gotta like, I would say think about that stuff.
No, I haven't, but I haven't really struggled too much in a combat perspective yet. I mean, early when I ran into a Talus, it kicked my ass once or twice, but like once, like that was just because I had 3 hearts and didn't have anything going.
That's true. Yeah. That is so useful.
Oh yeah, no,
That's very
there's
useful.
definitely cool stuff going on in it.
It's not even that, but I mean, like that's equal to Ascend in a way, where having a rocket on your shield is very useful. Yeah.
Okay. No, I mean, again, I totally get it, and I'm not hating on it, and like it's a good
I
mechanic.
just want to say, keep it in mind because there are going to be some scenarios where you're like, man, I wish I could do this right now, and you can.
I'll try to keep it in mind.
Yeah.
The problem is I have a lot of inventory, and I don't want to spend too much time in menus. I want to play the game. Like
Yeah,
that's the other problem.
Stop scanning every single amiibo every time you play.
That's just not happening. I'm trying to get all the tunics. Um. Okay. Ultra Hand. Love Ultra Hand.
The game was definitely built around Ultra Hand.
It absolutely is.
That was the first one, or at least the big one they ever made this game for.
So I was a little worried at first with Ultra Hand, watching the gameplay, and even some of the reviewers were like, "Man, it's just really hard to kind of like grasp." I didn't find it hard to grasp. I was like, "This is really like sometimes when you're rotating things, you're like, oh, what the hell? I want it to go this way." But it's like turning like a Rubik's Cube. It's like,
yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
It's not bad.
The only time I have an issue with it is rotating, but you get over it.
Yeah, you just rotate it back.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like turning a Rubik's Cube. It's like, okay, this is easy.
I have used a few times the Ultra Hand, and we're going to talk about Rewind next, but the Ultra Hand and Rewind ability.
Yeah, okay.
And hand to getting up on platforms. I did it earlier to get a Korok from one spot to the next.
I have a really funny Korok story to tell.
But yeah, I think Ultra Hand is important, and I'm trying to say things without spoiling things, but that's why I think you should go to the Great Plateau when you can. You're going to spend a good amount of like time there.
The ironic thing is, I think that's like, I would not be going there for a while if I go on my regular trajectory. I'll have to think about it. Because I really want to progress the story, but I mean, if you're telling me I really need to go there, then I'm going to probably go there. That's cool. Yeah, so Ultra Hand's great. It obviously, it's one of those things where I really love to see, like, there's just so many options, and it's cool to see, like, some people are making drones and bombs, and like me, I'm like putting a rocket on the back of like a box. Like, oh, let's see what happens. Like, but it's cool, and like, you know, at the end of the day, like, if you're getting through the puzzles, the game makes you feel smart in a puzzle solving sense, where it's like there's so many different ways that you could do it and make it work.
Mm-hmm.
There was a puzzle from a shrine where I don't think I did it right, but like it worked. So I was like, this, like, where like I had to get a giant ball through 3 different platforms, but like there was a track, and like the first few were easy. You put the ball on the track.
I'm glad you brought this specific one up because I have a story about this one.
Oh, really? You know what I'm talking about? It's an early shrine, so I'm sure you did it.
Like the first part is a lava area. You got to get over the lava, right?
I don't remember if there was lava. It was a giant ball, and there was a track. And the first one is you put the ball using Ultra Hand. You just put the ball on the track, and it goes down. The next one is slightly different. There is a pole or a stick, and you have to Ultra Hand the ball to the stick. And then you kind of have to place it on there where the ball momentums and rolls the stick down the thing because the track is too wide for just the ball. And then the third one is like really wide. And I was trying to do a few things, and like the way I feel like they wanted it to go, like it wasn't working. So I just kind of like, there was multiple sticks, and I kind of put the sticks together to kind of make something that it didn't feel right. But then when I did it, like it was almost like falling off the rails. Like it was like, oh shit, it's going to fall. And then it made it. And I was like, it works.
Yeah.
I made it through. I have that a lot with the Koroks. With the Koroks, they're back, and there's 100 more apparently than there was in the last game. I don't know how true that is, but that's what IGN said. But a lot of them now are, hey, take me to my friend because I'm a lazy piece of shit.
Yeah, those are the worst ones.
So I showed you yesterday. I love that people are torturing the Koroks because, like, fuck the Koroks. Like, I can't stand them.
Listen, if you can improve my capacity to hold weapons
by giving you poop, I'll take it. Okay, so this is actually something I will knock the game on, and we'll get to in a second. But what I ended up doing a lot is I'm using Ultra Hand as a functional technique other than crafting, in the sense that, like, so a lot of these Koroks, especially in that central Hyrule area when we first start out, it's like, oh, how am I going to get this Korok with these items that they've given me to get across the river, which has a strong current? And so for the first few, I would just kind of like, I made something and it just kept sinking. And I was like, I'm trying to figure it out. And I just didn't really get it. And then I finally got it to float. But then the fan wasn't strong enough with the sail to get it across with the current. So what I did was I used Ultra Hand and extended it as far across the water as I could.
Mm-hmm.
And then like I had my own little boat that I got working. So I basically threw the Korok into the water as far as I could across, and then jumped in my little boat, and then went like my little raft and went across. And because like the Korok was making it sink, I don't know why, but so it worked for me, and I got across, and then I grabbed him out of the water and took him over to the and, you know, it worked.
And
like,
I think I know what you're
it's
talking
fine.
about. What I did was essentially just make a really long stick. I put the Korok on the end of the stick, and I pushed it across, and he made it, and then I jumped across and like
Yeah, exactly. It's just like,
but, yeah.
I don't know if that's how they intended you. They
No,
want you to
it's
build a
hopefully not.
boat.
But yeah, there's no wrong answer. They
Yeah.
want you to build a boat, but that takes too much time. I'm
just gonna fucking chuck it
Yeah,
and see how far you can go.
yeah.
Yeah, so that's great. Recall. I admittedly, I've had a few instances where I've used recall, but I've seen people do some crazy stuff with recall.
Recall is the one I use the least amount. That is the one I use
Yeah.
the least amount. I think the greatest part for recall is getting on those giant blocks that are fall from the sky, using recall on those that go up, and I can see a lot. I can if there's an area I need to get to quickly, I just shoot up to the sky and use the hang glider to get down.
So something I've really been using the recall for, the most I've used it is in the shrines where I'm trying to figure out a puzzle and like things that need to be in a specific place, I mess up and everything kind of unravels and just gets messed up. I find the recall to be very useful in those situations where it's like, okay, I need to kind of dial this back and get everything back into the right place so I can try again with a slight change. And that's useful. I have a really funny Korok story where this Korok that I unintentionally tortured. So I come across this shrine, or not the shrine, this Korok, and he's across a ravine. And on where the Korok is one of those birds, the rocket, and a fan. And that's it. And I don't know why, but I'm like still like, because it's so early, I'm like holding on to all those extra Zonai stuff that I have in my equipment. Like I'm just not really using them yet. I know they're there. But so the Korok's like, I'm a lazy piece of crap. Can you get me across the ravine? And I'm like, all right. So I put the bird, put him on the bird, put him on the rocket, and we go. And the first time I did it, I messed up where I was like the rocket disappeared and I didn't make it far enough. And I think it's because I'm not doing the charges right. I need to learn more about the Zonai stuff in general. But so the rocket goes away and I messed up the burn, it goes into the ravine. So I load the save back up because that was the ravine that I got stuck in. I said like I don't have enough stamina to get out. Yeah. So I just reloaded the save. So this time I'm like, okay, we're gonna have to like I gotta make sure that I have him ready because this bird is not fully making it for me right now, and one reason or another. So I make it to the other side and the Korok does not. And so I'm like, sucks. I was like, wait a second. I can use recall. So I recall the Korok at the bottom of the mountain and he starts bouncing back up and he's hitting the rocks like all the way up.
Yeah.
And I'm dying laughing because it's just funny because you can even see him say oof, oof, oof.
The cool thing about recall is there's no distance. There's no distance.
But the problem is that there is a time.
Yeah, there's a time.
So what's funny was that I actually messed up, and so like he fell down, and then I recalled him back up, and before I could grab him, he fell back down. And at that point, I was just like on the floor. Like this Korok is just like, help me, please.
Yeah.
But no, recall is really cool in that aspect that it can kind of help you fix some mistakes. I did end up using the recall to get him up, and that was great.
Yeah. I remember building a boat and I accidentally hit it and it drove away and I had to use recall to get it back and I was like, thank God.
So another big improvement for me in Tears of the Kingdom is the narrative, and again, still super early. Haven't been to a dungeon yet. The narrative feels a lot more involved, present. And I'm just really excited for this story. Like when I was playing, like when you play Breath of the Wild, they have the memories. The memories feel there is no stakes, I feel, in Breath of the Wild apart from just having to get to the finish line. Whereas I'm playing this game and like I'm very excited to see what's going on at all of the main mission objectives. I feel like it just feels like there's more to look at from a narrative perspective because I have like multiple main mission objectives right now that all seem to be slightly different. Some of them are memories. Memories are back. But like it's also done in a way where it's more of a mystery now, which I feel like I already know what's going on in the mystery. But like the fact of the matter is like, okay, well here are memories, but now you're trying to figure out something as opposed to you're just trying to learn about Link and Zelda and your memories. I don't know if maybe I'm wrong on that, maybe disagree or agree. I just think the narrative is way better in this game.
For me, it's not so much the narrative; it's the involvement of characters.
That too,
It
yes.
feels like they all survived.
Yeah.
They're coming out of their hole after everything that happened in Breath of the Wild 1,
Right.
and they're kind of more together now, and I think that's cool.
Yeah, I would completely agree with that. I think that it's really awesome that there's more towns, more settlements.
Settlements, yeah.
Yeah, more settlements. I think that for me, I mean, we talked about Breath of the Wild. Like for me, Breath of the Wild, it just feels empty. Like yes, there's 120 shrines, and yes, there's 1,000 Koroks or whatever. I get that, but when I was playing Breath of the Wild, I just felt like I was just the world just didn't feel lived in. Which like obviously like there's story implications there, which I can give it the pass. Whereas like when I'm playing Tears of the Kingdom, you have like the sign guy who's like everywhere trying to hang these signs up, and I really love those puzzles. I really love solving those sign guy puzzles, by the way. But like the sign guys there's like more mini games. Like I was at the bottom of the ravine. There's a mini game down there at the bottom of the ravine. Like, what are you doing here? Like, holy crap! There's like a guy down here doing something. Like that's kind of cool. And like I just feel like there's more things to do along with what was already in the game. And I think that's awesome. I love going and just like going back to Lookout Landing. I think that's what it's called, amongst other things. Like it's just the world.
That's another reason why I say go to the Great Plateau, because it's kind of nice to see it again.
I'm looking forward to it. Yeah, I'll have to figure out when it's going to make the most sense for me to go there.
Yeah. I'll give you this. I'll say this too. Don't hang glide on there. There's like come up from the bottom. We'll talk about it later, but
okay.
Yeah, that's a good spot to go to.
What else do we want to talk about? Tears of the Kingdom. So like yeah, overall, I'm loving it.
Talking about the town. So I went to Kakariko Village, I think.
Okay, I haven't been there yet. Oh wow, you've been all over. Last night you hadn't been anywhere around there.
No, I did go to that one. I was there before, but it's one of those where I went there and it's a lot. It's nice to see like the expansion of things. A lot of things happen there. I think you've seen the giant rings in the distance. Yeah. That's where it's at. And you go there and you talk to some people and you figure some stuff out. And it's like, oh, this is kind of cool.
Yeah, I mean, I just like I said, I think there's a lot of cool stuff going on in the world. Like I don't want to spoil anything, but some of the NPCs told me that one of the settlements is dealing with like something. I don't want to spoil it if you haven't gotten there yet. No. But like it's like, oh wow, when I go back to that area, I'll have to check that out. That's really cool.
Have you found any fairy buds yet?
Fairy buds? No, I don't think so.
The Great Fairy Fountain?
I have I have not okay. Yet, no. So I'm very meticulous. As I showed you last night, I'm kind of going like region to region as I work my way to the objectives, which is why the Great Plateau is not really anywhere.
It's a little further south.
It's a little out of the way. But yeah,
I have to imagine that you're going to get a quest that's just going to tell you to go there because you get something that's kind of important.
Okay. Yeah, so I mean that's kind of the early hours in Tears of the Kingdom. I mean, just kind of to sum it up, because I'm not sure if there's anything else we want to discuss. I'm absolutely loving my time with it. I think from a game development standpoint, it's a masterpiece. This isn't a review because I don't like to review games until I hit credits. That's just how I am. Unless a game is so bad that I can't reach the credits, in which case it's a bad review.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'm loving my time so far. When I'm not playing it, I want to be playing it.
I was going to say that.
Which has been rough for me because I've been working a lot, and then of course this weekend was the wife's birthday, so like I haven't really played it all the last 3 days.
Yeah.
And then tomorrow is her birthday again, so I don't know how much I'm going to be playing tomorrow.
I don't know if I said this to you, but my life since that game came out is either I'm only doing two things. I'm either playing the game or I'm thinking about playing the game.
Yeah, it's insane. But it's so true, and man, it's a really good game.
There's actually something I want to try that I'm probably going to try in my next playthrough. You know those? Have you seen the devices that you hit them and they stand straight up? It's a Zonite device.
I don't think I've seen that yet.
So it's not a spoiler, but it's a Zonite device.
Yeah, that's fine.
That it's laid down, and when you power it on, it just stands straight up. And there's a couple uses for it. It's kind of cool. Like you can attach like stuff to it, and when it stays up, it like launches things.
Yeah. Oh, like I have seen one of those in one of the Korok videos when they catapulted the Korok.
Okay, yeah, you have seen it.
Yeah.
So what I want to try next time I play is to put two of those side by side, upside down, and see if that'll just continue rolling or like I don't know. That was just something I was thinking.
So you were always
playing the game, and I'm like.
You were always like an engineering kid, though. You were in what's it called in high school? Though?
I was in robotics.
Right? Yeah, you were. So like this game is made for you.
Yeah.
But so the other,
Like I'm not into the robot stuff, but a lot of the tanks it's I can see is like, oh, this is gonna be really useful. Like building a stone tank that can get me through something.
yeah, I just got to get to that point where like my brain like it clicks, like that part clicks. Because like right now I'm just like, all right, let me get through this puzzle. Let me build this thing. Like, again, I'm having a great time getting through it.
Yeah,
And
just
I find it super rewarding. And like at the end of the day, like,
Yeah.
hey man, whatever works
Just
for
have
you,
fun, yeah.
get through it, play it the way you want to play it. I'm really excited to continue to play for the story too. Like yeah, I'm absolutely loving my time with it. I love the abilities. I like it a lot more than Breath of the Wild.
Okay.
I will say that. I think that it improves on a lot of things. At the end of the day, some things it doesn't. I mean, I still, and we can disagree about this, and it's not even about a Zelda thing. I'm not the biggest fan of the weapon degradation system.
Okay.
Just not. It's not my thing. I am someone who does care about aesthetics on my characters, and like when I find the Master Sword, I don't know where it is. I don't know what's going on with the Master Sword, but when I get that Master Sword, like that's sword 1A. And like that's gonna be my sword. Even if it ends up not being the best sword to use, it's going to be the sword I use because it's what I want to do. When I find the Hylian shield, because I don't know where it is, but I found out that it is in the game. I'm going to use that shield, and that will be my primary shield, with the Wind Waker shield being the backup shield in case God forbid something happens to the Hylian shield.
You're definitely playing you're giving yourself a harder difficulty.
But I'm doing
in
it
this
out of
way.
enjoyment.
Yeah,
If I enjoy it, let me
if you enjoy it, I guess. Go ahead.
But like, here's the thing. Like, I also will like, I am willing to obviously. I don't want to keep failing at the game, so I'll make changes needed. For example, I'm starting to get up to where the Rito are, and it is very snowy there.
Yeah, you're gonna have to change your outfit.
Yeah, so I changed my pants. I'm still wearing the green tunic, but I changed my pants.
Okay.
So there you go. Well, yeah, that'll like. I also like.
Another thing is
I try to conserve my stuff if I can help it.
No,
so.
go ahead, just use it.
I can't help it. I can't.
Are you cooking?
So here's another weird thing. Like I was cooking, and then like I filled out my meals. They were like, "You can't make any more meals."
Oh, I didn't
was
know you
like,
can do that.
That's what I said because I sat down. I was like, you know what? I was at a fire. I was like, I didn't do enough cooking in the last game. I'm gonna start cooking. And after like 5 minutes, they're like, "Hey, you can't carry any more meals." And I was like, "Can I increase this amount?" Because I was kind of surprised.
I don't think you can.
I don't think you can.
I don't know
was
how
kinda
many meals you
surprised.
made.
I'll have to show you. I'll show you when we get off.
I agree with you.
Yeah, I know.
And like a lot of the meals, like I don't use like silent stuff
Mhm.
when I'm cooking. Like I don't make silent food. I don't make
No.
There's certain foods that I just don't make because I just don't think it's necessary for me personally.
Mm.
The spicy foods is you definitely should do that.
Oh yeah, sure.
On the other side, the cold foods for like going to the Gerudo Desert. I don't know if you go ahead. I was gonna say this also. The two villages, the main villages that they had in Breath of the Wild are still in this game. I went to one of them.
Right.
The one that's further south is now like a fashion district. I don't know if you've seen the mushroom people walk around. People who are dressed in like mushroom garbs.
Which village? Oh yeah, the Hateno. Yeah,
the Hateno. That's
I've heard about it, but I haven't been there yet.
But I heard that
one of the people from the newspaper were like, it's the fashion district of the world.
Yeah. I haven't gone there yet either, but I was gonna say you can go there and dye your clothes green. You can dye your if you don't,
But the Ocarina of Time tunic is too cool not to use.
Okay. Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
But I mean, like I said, it doesn't matter how you play as long as you're enjoying it. And I think we're both enjoying it. We're not going to play the game the same way, but isn't that the point of the game, I would argue?
I mean, yeah, no one's going to play the game the same way.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So if I want to wear my tunics, I'm going to wear my tunic.
Go ahead.
I'm having a good time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. And maybe something cool will come along and I'll be like, oh, okay, yeah, I'm going to use that. Because like I'm still collecting gear. Like if I come across something like that has a functionality use, I'm going to pick it up. But yeah, like when I'm running around exploring, doing shit, I want to wear the tunic.
Okay.
I like the tunic. It makes me happy. Isn't that the whole point? Is to be happy?
I guess. You're definitely suffering in some aspects.
I'm fine. I'm having a good time.
Okay. Oh yeah, I'm glad you brought that up.
Yeah, because the sonar charges. Yeah, definitely. That is really cool.
So another thing I want to say is when you can, every now and then, after a couple days in game days or whatever, fly back up to. And this is how I'm doing it personally. I think you should do it too. Fly back up to the place where
we haven't even talked.
That factory. Remember that factory where they were first mining the Zonite charges?
Mm.
buy out all of them and go back and continue playing your game, and every couple of days buy all of them because you need 100 of them to upgrade your. I think you probably saw that guy. You talked to him already.
The guy in the mine.
Yeah, and there's also one near.
Yeah, what do those do again? I forget. I remember that you told me.
Your Zonite batteries.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So like you get a second battery.
Again, I have to like not pay more attention, but I need to like associate that they exist more because it's like a lot of that Zonai stuff. Like for me, like
outside the shrine, I don't. It's probably not necessary to use it.
I haven't really come across anything yet, and like I'm like when I have to build something, usually they give me materials around, so I just use what they give me.
And I think you've also told me you didn't do the Sky Island. You stayed away from Sky Islands so far. You haven't really.
I have not been up to the sky very much.
The Sky Islands, they're very important, like for just getting around from island to island. Flying is very useful.
So speaking of which, something we didn't even talk about yet. So this map. So obviously you got Hyrule, and Hyrule is different. It like a lot of it does feel kind of samey, but it's also different. They add a lot more to it, whether it be Zonai things or different enemy outposts, things to do. There's more to the map than just Hyrule. So obviously you have the Sky Islands.
But wait, speaking on Hyrule for a second, both you and I replayed Breath of the Wild before we got into this game.
Yeah,
which I kind of regret.
Well, I didn't get very far, so I'm okay with it. Like I was like, okay.
The only reason I regret it is because my horses.
Oh yeah, I saw that. I didn't want to say anything to you, but I loaded up the Twilight Princess Link and I got Epona.
Yeah, you got Epona.
I got Epona right away, and I was like, okay, this is great. And then they were like, I took it to the stable, and much like me, I wouldn't want to change the name of Epona.
Yeah.
But they were like, oh, it's Epona. Well, you're not changing its name.
Yeah, that's cool.
And I'm like, yeah, no, you're right, I'm not.
The one downside about Epona is she can't tow, and towing will be useful.
Yes, you know what? I did come across that, and I was like, that's weirdly lame.
Yeah.
I don't know why you wouldn't let Epona tow things. That's
Speaking of towing and torturing Koroks, you can put those. I can't find my friend Koroks onto the tow and just ride your horse to the area.
Yeah,
it's so much easier.
It's really funny. I did think it was kind of weird that Epona couldn't do it though. I discovered that on my last gameplay session where I was like, oh,
yeah,
that's weird. So now I guess at some point I have to go get a horse and name him like Toey or something. Like you're the towing horse. You tow things.
But I did miss. I was like, oh, I could have had my horse from the game in this.
I mean, if you want to scan Epona, you can try to get Epona.
Yeah, I'll do that.
I'll do it before you leave. You can scan Twilight Princess Link today.
And then what else were we talking about?
So the Sky Islands, huge.
Oh, so
and
wait,
then
what I wanted to say about Hyrule is we played the game a little bit, so going back to those places and seeing the changes, I think is really, really cool. Like the subtle changes, like adding more people, or like the storyline stuff that I would have forgotten.
Right.
Yeah, that's all I
just to check in, see how people are a few years down the road. It's been a few years, it seems like, and Hyrule's rebuilding. I think that's really cool. So the size of the map, and we are getting up a little bit on time, so we're gonna get through this.
Okay.
So the Sky Island obviously is crazy, but the chasm, insane.
Very insane.
It's the size of fucking Hyrule.
Yeah.
And like,
it's scary. When I'm down there, I'm nervous, and I like it.
It's super intimidating.
Yeah.
And while we're on the subject of scary and nervous, because I'm trying to hit everything we want to talk about before we get out of here. So I'm sure you've obviously experienced because you've been playing. I want to get your first take on how this happened. So you're playing, right? You're walking along.
I already know what you're bringing up. Terrifies me. Terrified.
So you're walking
twice.
So it's happened to me 3 times this month. 4 times actually, because I found one in a well. Which I was like, what?
Well, that's the worst.
I was like, what?
I already know what you're about to talk about.
So I'm walking. And I look up in the sky, and I see the blood moon. And I'm like...
It's daytime. Why?
I was like... Oh, the blood moon.
You hear the music, and you see the smoke coming from the ground.
I saw the blood moon had, like, just happened. Yeah. I was like, that's weird.
It wasn't even
the music starts playing. And then, like, I'm like... Yeah, it comes out of the ground, and these fucking hands.
Yeah.
And they start swarming you, and you're like, oh, okay, this is like, I gotta fight these things. And, like, first time I get it, I just get smoked.
Oh, yeah.
And then I'm like, what the hell? And then, like, the checkpoint reloads. And it's right when they're spawning.
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh my god. And so I'm running. And so I've learned that the best thing you can do, I'm sure there's a way to fight them, and I just haven't discovered it yet. But as soon as they show up, I am climbing.
Climb, yes.
Climb.
I'll say that.
I am.
So they can't climb. That's a saving grace, because if they can climb,
so funny story. Not to scare you.
Yeah.
So last night when you left, I played for like another 5 minutes because like I showed you where I was, and it happened like right after you left.
Okay.
And so I ran. I was having a hard time climbing, and they started to actually get me. And there was like kind of like a broken wall where like they weren't letting me climb, so like the broken wall kind of slanted up so I could jump on and run up it. So I do that. I run up and I'm like walking across carefully, and there's a platform. So I'm on the platform. I think I'm safe. I turn around and the game is clipping them up the wall because of how they can how I got on. And I'm like, you stay the fuck away from me. And luckily they all fell, but it was close. I was terrified. I was scared.
So the first time I did it, they killed me and I died. I couldn't get through it. When I reloaded back in, I was able to climb up and I got away from them, and I just stayed away. The second time they showed up, I had time to run. They grabbed me a few times. I kept mashing A, and I was able to get out of it. I climbed up a wall and I shot bomb arrows at them, and you can kill them.
Right.
You can kill them.
You can kill them, yeah. So when I found them in the well, I killed them, but it took a lot of arrows.
Did something happen after you killed them?
I don't think so.
Okay, something is supposed to happen after you kill them. I don't want to say anything because I haven't experienced it yet.
And
so
I don't think anything happened with those.
Maybe it's because they drop those things that.
Yes, well, they drop them even if they run away.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah, if you survive them and they run away, they still drop those things.
I didn't know there was a surviving. I thought you have to.
Well, they just disappear. No. The hands. If you wait long enough, they go away.
I never waited.
Oh, so you've killed them every time?
I've killed them. I've only come across them twice. The first time I ran away and I didn't know where they went. They just disappeared. And I was like, I don't know.
Yeah. So because again, I climbed and I was like, at first I was like shooting arrows at them, but I was like, I'm gonna break all my bows because of how much damage they're taking. And like even when I was trying like bomb flowers and fire flowers, I was like, or fire arrows, bomb arrows and fire arrows. I was like, this is not working. So I kind of was just like waiting it out. I want to see what they do. Like, are they gonna go anywhere? And after like 2 minutes, they just despawn. They go away and they drop the things.
Okay, cool. I ran and stopped. Didn't look back.
So just so you know, I tried running. They're fast.
Yeah, but I was near a wall luckily that time. So I was near a cliff. So I just climbed the cliff and just didn't look back.
Right.
But yeah, I hope they're not in the underground because that's already enough scary stuff down there.
Oh my god, I don't even want to talk about that. We'll see what happens when we get down there. All right. Well,
the horses down there, ride the horses. They can grow right over the gloom, and they're not hostile. So
good to know. I have not gone down there so much.
Oh, Epona, yeah.
We talked about Epona. Yeah. All right. I mean, we talked a lot about Tears of the King. I think we just went for 50 minutes. Yeah. Well, we wrapped up the news at like 9:00.
Yeah. I think we're gonna have a little bit of Zelda to talk every week for
I think we're gonna do like a Zelda update kind of to see where we're at, and obviously they'll be kind of spoilery, so we'll probably end the shows with them.
Okay.
I think that's a good
that makes sense.
Practice to do. Yeah, well that's the thing. Like I'm taking my time through
I'm not rushing through this game at all. This is a game where I think when I beat it once, I don't think I'm going to be able to play it again.
You know what I keep thinking about? I keep thinking about because so you weren't here. I don't think you were on the show yet, but we did report cards at the end of the year. We're going to do them again this year, and I just keep thinking about like how am I not giving Nintendo like an A+ for keeping me exclusively on my Switch for the first half of 2023?
Oh yeah, this is.
I haven't played anything on Xbox or PlayStation this year, realistically. Like a little, like I think I finished God of War in January, and like I played like 1 or 2 things on my Xbox, but I've like exclusively been on my Switch from like I went from Fire Emblem to Octopath to Advance Wars to Zelda, and I'm just like, report card season is coming next.
A game hasn't hit this big since Elden Ring, and I think they're almost at equal level.
I think it's more than Elden Ring.
I actually don't think it's more than Elden Ring. I think it has to do with it being a sequel, and Elden Ring hit people.
It did. No, it really did.
That it really shouldn't have hit. You know what I mean?
My final question for you, closing question. Because again, we are running short on time. Is there a game coming out this year, either it's already out or it's coming out, that you think is going to come? Okay, there you go.
This year? No, not at all.
I don't think so either, but I'm just having for the sake of discussion.
Yeah, not at all.
Do you think that? So you don't think
the next biggest game is going to be Starfield, in my opinion?
So I'm talking about in the Game of the Year discussion, especially.
Starfield is the only other contender I can see, and I don't think they're going to do it. I think the game's going to be great. I don't think they're going to be
Breath of the Wild. Like, same thing with Spider-Man. Like I think Spider-Man and Starfield are both going to be phenomenal games. But I don't think they're touching. I don't think they're touching Zelda either. Actually,
no.
Yeah, but we're talking about the Game of the Year for this year. That's why I mentioned it. I frame it in that way.
No, nothing this year. No,
I don't think so either. Like, it's a really good year. Like, we're gonna be sitting here at the end of the year doing like our yearly recap, and like, that's gonna be a good show. I'm already looking forward to a podcast we're doing in December.
Yeah, I already decided what 3 games. Like I've narrowed it down. I'm probably only getting 3 games this year because of
Okay.
how big Tears of the Kingdom
So
is.
what else are they?
Diablo,
Okay.
because I'm really big
You
Diablo
are a
fan,
big Diablo fan.
and Starfield.
Oh, so Zelda was one of the 3. Okay.
Yeah, and of
I
course.
thought you meant 3 other
Oh,
games.
no, no.
Oh, okay.
For right now, yeah.
Okay. Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's a really cool cutscene too. Like again, there's so much to talk about with this game. Like that Blood Moon cutscene, like it's so badass in this game.
And also this
It's got
game,
like the drums and it's
Yeah.
like the Blood Moon Ganons.
this game makes me like, because like in Breath of the Wild, I was like the character Zelda herself. Like she was okay for me in the first game.
Yeah, she's great in this game.
She's a lot cooler in this game.
Yeah, she's real cool. Zelda, which is usually Zelda is a cool character, so
Yeah.
it's yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the confidence. Well, it's the same thing at the beginning of the game where she's like, "Oh my god, the imprisoning war." Like, I still can't get over that. Well, they're bringing up the imprisoning war. I gotta tell you about the imprisoning war.
Okay.
It takes place like before Link to the Past. It's like it
We'll do it
also.
off. We'll do it off.
I know it also kind of places it on the timeline. So we actually
Okay.
like all things considered, you can kind of place it. You know which branch. You know how it breaks into 3.
Yeah.
The adult ending, the child ending, the hero fails ending.
Yeah.
It goes in the hero's failed ending.
Okay.
So that means Ocarina of Time Link dies in the story in the timeline that we're in. That would take a lot of work and probably will be something we do at some point in someday. But for now, I want to play Tears of the Kingdom.
Yeah.
See, like being a Zelda fan, last thing, the third last thing, being a Zelda fan is a cycle, right? So it's like you spend 4 years theorizing about Zelda, and while playing the re-releases they put out, and then you like are obsessed with the new one for like 2 years. You know what I mean? And then it's like, okay, it's been like a year or two. You've played the new Zelda game a few times. Time to get back on the cycle, and then like you start talking about like the all the other theories from the Zelda franchise. It's fun. It's great. But that's gonna just about do it for us here tonight. Jeff, did the microphone hold up good? Was it good? Oh, that's awesome. Glad to hear it. Awesome. Glad to hear it. All right. Well, this has been episode 26 of the Game Room podcast. Thank you to everyone hanging out with us tonight. Saw the Doge here. Coog was here as well. Really appreciate you guys hanging out with us for a little bit tonight. Make sure you like the video, subscribe, give us a follow on our social medias. We are going to be talking about Zelda for the coming months as we play through it. The Summer Games Fest stuff is coming up. Next week's episode, we're obviously going to be reviewing the PlayStation Showcase. So look forward to that. If you like pro wrestling, we talk about AEW on Wednesdays and Fridays. And this week, Sunday, well, next Sunday, technically.
Yeah.
But it's a big week for us here on the channel. Obviously, we did the Game Room podcast tonight, a day early, due to the wife's birthday being tomorrow. We will be back here on Wednesday for the Broken Tables podcast, talking about AEW Dynamite. I don't know if I'm. Oh yeah, I'll be available for the Friday pod this week, Jeff. So we will do the Rampage review / Double or Nothing preview show. The Curly's order must be submitted.
Nice.
It'll be great. Very very excited for the week ahead, and then your birthday is next week.
Yep.
Maybe we'll do like a Devroro, like a fun Devroro like video game. I don't know. Maybe I'll come up with something fun for your birthday.
All right.
We'll see. But anyways, anything else? And hopefully the Heat are burying the Celtics. Anyway, I'm Rome. He's Dev. Producer Jeff. See you guys next time.
See ya.